usually
I'm
here
anxious to see how
early,
loud
though.
it is.
I know. You want to start? Okay. We're ready.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I will open this meeting of the DeKalb County Commissioners. Today's date is July 29th, 2024. Good morning, Larry and Dottie.
Good morning.
Is it Larry first?
Get Larry first.
Okay, Larry, looks
Okay,
like you got some numbers.
I have got some information for the air conditioning problem out at Sunny Meadows. I did not print off the copy for this one because it was so high that I'll just tell you what the numbers are. So the first one is Auburn Plumbing and Heating. So what he did was, I was talking with him and I said, can we get a group price, to try to get everything lower? And so this is what he's come back with. This also includes, in this price, is a heater for our shop area, is included.
Shop area.
For our maintenance shop area.
Oh, maintenance shop, got you.
Is also included in there, but he did make a note that if you wanted to subtract that, it would be $2,250 is what the shop price is. And on the back, this is where he started at, was that, I wrote those down, and this is where we ended up at.
So this is air conditioning for every place in Sunny Meadows that's needed?
Yes, this
Okay.
would be for the women's side, the chapel, kitchen, and dining room. And when I was there with Gibson's, the woman's side was froze up.
Was it?
Yeah.
Free on that?
Yeah, and they were out there just last week. And so it must be leaking pretty good.
Okay, yeah.
And then the next is Gibson's quote. And this is just for the women's side.
Oh,
The 7,000 or 8,000.
8,200, 8,172 versus 6,300 through Auburn.
Yeah. So Gibson gave me a quote for the chapel, the kitchen, and the dining room, and it was $43,000.
Oh, really, that high?
Yeah. That's why I didn't even make copies, because
Yeah.
when you heard that number, you're going to be like, yeah.
Yeah, makes it tough.
So, now Angela has told me that she has funds. I don't know that part of it, but she said she has funds. I said, well, I still got to get it okayed.
Got a question for you on electric heating unit. I assume that if it's a 10 kilowatt, that's electric resistance, which is the absolute least efficient heat you can get. Is there a reason why we would go with electric resistance versus like a heat pump or a gas-fired unit or propane or something?
That was for the shop area.
Yeah.
And I talked to him about it, and he said this would be the cheapest way to go, because he had talked about a mini split at first, and he goes, well, you're looking at price $6,500 to $7,000 to do that. And he goes, and he asked me what kind of heat we needed. And I said, just warm enough to, that we could work on something if we had to pull a grasshopper in during the winter or whatever.
So it wouldn't run all the time then?
No.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's just something to keep the temperature.
take the chill off.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be okay. I just,
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
wouldn't
want to
be a-
run it all the time at 10 kilowatts at 11 cents a kilowatt hour. That, you
Yeah.
know,
It's about
And if it
$1.50
is, it
an hour
might be
to-
at 40 degrees or something, just keep it above freezing.
Yeah. And then if we would have to go in there to work on it, we can bump it up and warm it up a little bit more.
Sure.
And then knock it
Okay,
back down.
all right, so it's not continuous heat?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, it's not like,
okay, gotcha.
Has that got the electric in there to support that? It does. I assume he's checked that.
That'd be a 50 amp breaker or 60 amp kilowatt, wouldn't it?
You know, he came out and looked at it, but I don't know. I can't answer that for sure.
41 amp, so 50 amp breaker for that.
Yeah.
Should be, I would think,
But if
as
it's got a 100 amp service.
long as it has a slot for it, it should be
That
okay.
would support it.
Unless it's an old fuse style screw in.
No, it's breakers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Breaker.
Okay, all right.
And I will check to make sure.
Check, make sure it's a 100 amp.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
So in this quote, they're talking about doing a 3-head mini split, so one condenser outside with 3 individual units. And then a standalone 3.5 ton, split system.
For the one-
regular, split system.
Yeah.
Not a mini split. Okay. I don't know, what do you guys think here?
Well, I think it needs to be done, I suppose. I don't know how we don't do it. We're going to keep that facility going, at least for a while.
Just wondering, I'm just wondering on the mini split, I mean, I've always trusted Auburn Heating, there's no doubt, but those things are so cheap. If you go with an off-brand, like Earmark, they're all made by the same Chinese places and installed, I've seen them. Now, this could be difficult with the brick building and who knows where the runs are going and all that, but I've seen them installed for a couple grand for a 2-ton unit, maybe 2,500. If you did 3 individual ones, would that make more sense? I don't know. They're the pros. We probably should go with what they say, but I just looking at dollars and cents here and
he was more concerned about electrical.
electrical.
Yeah. And trying to run electrical to all 3 units.
That makes
And
sense.
he goes, it'd be best to run one big unit and then pipe
Power
out.
from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably right. Yeah, I don't think this is out of line though for what you're getting. There's a lot of labor here and a lot of work.
Well, we need to have air conditioning out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it's nice to have air.
Yeah. And we do have ARPA money that we could
Yeah.
use for this and let Angela's
Yeah,
move the money
we
around.
would need to use the ARPA money.
Yeah.
Which I would be fine with. That's a good use
Which,
of ARPA money,
exactly.
and we need to spend that.
You want to include the heat for the shop?
I think so, at $2,250, take the chill off when you need it, like you said, work, you know. No fun busting your knuckles when it's 34 degrees out, I get that.
Well, if you need to pull something in and melt the snow off of it
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, get the ice off.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to accept the proposal from Auburn Heating for $26,550.
Right, motion is second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Okay, that's all I have.
All right,
Okay.
have a good day.
Okay, I am next, and what I'd like to do is revisit the security for the 9th Street Annex. And Commissioner Sanderson, I don't know how your conversation went with the sheriff, but other conversations that individuals had with the sheriff have led us to come up with an alternate option, I would say, for the security for that building. So I yield the floor to both Mike Watson and Michael Lapham to discuss it.
Yeah. We've kind of done a bit of a deep dive into
Yeah.
this recently.
Yep.
And I think we've come up with a very workable alternative. I'm going to let Michael go ahead and outline that.
The easiest thing to start off with is I think 2 different entities had conversations with the sheriff. He's basically let us know that the crux of the matter is the late night walkthrough. He's unable to do that. And that's really, as described previously, that is where the issues come from. Immediate issues come from, although Mr. Watson was able to create a department head meeting, which included myself, IT, and Dottie, 4-H, Mark Olivero, Jenny Short, basically everybody in that building other than my assistant chief who had an individual office there to talk about every part of the security portions, what we had, what had gone on, why we were moving forward, what the, issues they may have seen so that we could move forward with it. A couple of things happened in that meeting. One, with IT, we were able to move forward on looking at the new scanners and saying, maybe there should be some policy and procedure with those that everybody understands. Also being informed of how they work and looking at them and saying, hey, I know that you guys have them on the timers, but here's some of the issues that we have had because I've asked my office to pay attention to them, extra special attention to the times they're open, times they're closed. We found that there was an extensive amount of time pre and post meetings that would have been held outside of office hours. We took a look at Jack and asked him to come up with some policy that he could forward out to department heads if they were going to have a meeting there that were outside of office hours to set some time limits. 20 minutes before, 10 minutes after the meeting time. Because what we found is in the morning, they were open maybe an hour plus before. And my first arrivers were arriving to see that, the doors were wide open. We just thought that may not be in the best interest of our security. Then taking a look at some of the issues that we had not talked about. One, after hours meetings for everybody. I think that there are some meetings that are held later at night. There's no walkthroughs after that. No public security provided for those either. We've asked that everybody take a look at those. There were a few other things that we discussed, and maybe they're larger issues of creating policy and procedure individually for offices to have an emergency management plan. I discussed that many of ours are internal. Issues that we have, many of the probation department, we kind of meet head on, but I don't expect that from everybody else. I would like them to individually look at what they would expect in an emergency. What have they directed their offices to do? To kind of look at some policies and procedures internally, not specifically as a whole. That's okay. To say, how are you entering the building? How are you exiting? How are you going to react in an emergency? And should we have that plan? And finally, looking at IT, maybe for the larger picture, we talked about cameras, motion detectors, things of that nature. IT let us know that they have some extra ones. They also have some funds if we needed others, and are willing to start moving forward on providing those. Mr. Olivero, as you know, Public Defender's Office with building improvements has the ability to go back down to the state and kind of recoup some of those funds as well. So we talked about making sure that those bills go back to that. Finality comes back to our current issue is the late night walkthrough. Since the inception of the issue, I've had my department doing it. The problem with that is it's inconsistent. Can't guarantee, one, that I'm the last person in the building every day. Sometimes Dottie's last. Can't guarantee that my department is the first there every day to make sure that the building's secure. I don't know if there's any other way, and through our discussions with every other department head, to guarantee the walkthrough with somebody who's safety and security trained, than requesting a third party do it. Looking at an outside entity and trying to create a contract with a local law enforcement agency to say, hey, are you guys willing to come in, do a 15, 20-minute walkthrough at the end of every day, and or at the time there might be a late night meeting, doing that or providing that at the end of those meetings as well. I think everybody was in agreement. I took a look at some basic financial compensation, what guys would get for off-duty security and things of that nature. Obviously, we're not going to pay them that level. They do make quite a bit for that. We reduced it quite a bit, but you're looking at $30 to $40 at a minimum per day because of the travel time or what they have to do or taking their hours. And then there's the issue of them being responsible. And I think you have to make it worthwhile. For us, that comes anywhere between $3,900 and $5,200 a year to guarantee that. In speaking with the local chief, he was more than willing to sit down and talk about it. We played phone tag at the end of last week. He was busy, I was busy, but definitely open to the issue of sitting down and talking about what that would look like. The purpose of the contract is so that if any of the officers had I have some officers with that department that work for community corrections. I wouldn't want to mess with the county overtime, the other policies that exist with not working 2 part-time jobs in 2 places. If we go with the contract, it will allow that chief to look at and guarantee with me, so it would be us two, saying that it's being done every day. I'd be able to check on it. He would ensure me that it was being done every day, and we would be able to hold each other accountable for the contract itself, and I wouldn't have to specifically have an employee. I could go straight department head to make sure those things are being done. Yes, sir.
Can you keep the volume up a little bit?
Oh, I
You
apologize.
fade out on me. I'm sorry.
Was there anything you missed? I'm sorry. I try to tone down. I'm a loud talker back at the office. When I come in here and there's microphones, I feel like I got to tone it down a little bit.
So the 3,900 or whatever, that would be just for after work or mornings also?
After work, the mornings,
But no after meetings. That would be additional because,
I believe so. Now,
okay,
honestly, we're moving as fast as we can with this.
right.
When I wrote the chief, he basically said, "Yeah, let's talk about it." I'm hopeful that he would be willing to make some accommodation. You know, we're close. We work together quite a bit. If he looked at us and said, if we know we have an after-hours meeting, we can create a policy that says the person in charge of the red room, white room, schedules the after-hour meetings. They are also inside the annex, can notify that chief and say, hey, we have them. Do you have somebody who can stop out after it's over to make sure it's done? We can talk about that. We can try and build it into the contract. Obviously, I'm coming here to try and move it along as quickly as I can to make sure we match the issues. The last thing in the world that we want is to have one while we're trying to plan. So I'm just trying to push it along. I think we can move forward with those. It's definitely part of the concern, though, yeah. It's not something I took a lot of, I'm not there for a lot of those meetings. I know that there's some, I think building department may have had some in the past, and I think there's another department that does some training there after hours. I think they are law enforcement, but they, may not be responsible for that portion. But
Okay.
I'm just trying to move
No,
it
that's all
forward,
right.
and maybe we have to modify it as we go. But yeah, it's a concern. That is not part of that, and I'm just looking at a per day
Okay.
issue. And obviously, maybe there'd be more in there. There's days that we don't work. There's days that the building's not open. So that's me looking at a full year,
Right.
26 5-day.
fine.
So
And why isn't our sheriff's department doing this?
I think that's something that needs to be discussed with the sheriff. I'm certainly not going to speak for the sheriff's office.
I got a question. Would
Yes,
it
sir.
make more sense? Because it sounds to me like these special meetings are part of the problem, especially if people are at 8 o'clock at night or 6, and who's responsible. Would it make more sense to have meetings at a 24-hour facility that's already open, like Central Communications has that meeting room, or the
community corrections doesn't open, and
yeah, and I know that's maybe a little inconvenient for them, but
Sure.
but it's 24-hour security. You know who's coming and going. They already have the cameras. They have to buzz you in to let you in. They would even know who's there. And then to do a walkthrough, I'm for the walkthrough too at the end of the day, but I think those two need separated, because if someone has a meeting and it runs till 6:30, what if the officer can't get there till 7:15 because he's on call or whatever, and
Sure.
someone's got to wait around for him or her? Does that make sense or not?
it does. I have to be honest with you. Those after-hour meetings was not something that I was privy to until we had that meeting. It's not something that ours aren't held there after hours. Any of our after hours stuff, obviously, we do a lot of stuff with community corrections as well. We do 99% of our stuff during hours. The one thing that we did do after hours, we used to hold substance abuse classes. During COVID, we were able to move those virtual. We took some surveys, took a look at whether those processes were any better held in person versus virtual. We also looked at some hybrid options. Ultimately, we found that our attendance and all the rest of those things were actually better virtually, and we were seeing better results virtually after taking a look at those, regardless of the fact that I think a lot of my officers felt like they should have been held in person because they liked that face-to-face contact. That was the only thing that we've had department-wide ourselves that I knew, but we also had a safety protocol for that. If anybody holds that, I had 2 officers guaranteed. One of them had their cell phone on, wasn't the teacher. The other one made sure that we guaranteed that we cleared the bathrooms in the building before we left, and that I never had anybody go into the parking lot alone. So we had our individual safety stuff. The others, obviously I'm just not aware of. It's an issue. I'm not sure how widespread it is. I didn't take any time. Our meeting with the department heads was on Thursday of last week. It was discussed. I didn't take any time to go back up to where they schedule it and see how many there had been. I have no if there's 5 all year or whether there's 20 all year. I have no idea.
I think it's pretty infrequent. Most of those evening meetings are the extension office, and they're doing sewing or whatever. So I don't think that's a major issue. The majority of it, I believe, when there is law enforcement doing training in the white room, and we really don't need to be worried about that, I don't think.
For that, it really has to do with how long the doors are freely open.
Yeah.
That's it. And that was the other thing going through IT with the new scan doors is if we could tighten it up, and they intend to do that.
Shouldn't be any problem. Anyway, I think we need to address this pretty quickly. You know, we can't have the incidents that we've had recently and the issues that it's causing with Larry's people and just concern in general. So we had talked about if courthouse security did it, it would be an overtime situation. I think the cost isn't going to be any more this way than it would be if we were covering overtime for Sergeant Broyles or his staff anyway. So I think just for the peace of mind, $5,200 a year is pretty reasonable.
And would you be happy with that scenario that Mike discussed, paying the $5,000 a year and having the walkthrough? And do you think that would
Yes, sir.
put people's minds at ease? And
I think that's the consensus. Obviously, it's a larger goal. 1, policy and procedures individually for the office. 2, policies and procedures through IT on the scan doors. 3rd, the cameras. As I discussed with you, I think the cameras are a larger necessity than maybe even the walkthroughs because there's a lot of public entrance and exit to that building, not just for the safety concerns and the after-hours concerns. We'll have to decide who's going to monitor them. There's a bigger picture for it. But yes, I think with the current issues we have or have had since the scan door has been placed in, the immediate response is to guarantee that we have somebody external to do that every day. Not that we aren't doing, we've been doing it ever since we had the issue department-wide, but vacations and responsibility and if I'm not there, Ryan's not there, who will take it over? Who do you expect to do it? Or one of my staff. My staff has been doing it every day, but if that's not possible, and secondarily, you never know who you're going to meet. So it depends on my staffer, who they meet in the hallway. That's maybe it.
So I know that this needs to be done very soon. Have you reached out to any other companies or people or just the chief?
No, I had not. It was a suggestion of that because of proximity.
Right.
Because of who I had locally that I knew had worked for us, had done things of that nature that we thought was just that. No, and I completely understand that. If we were to move forward and people wanted to do what the county necessity to open up contracts, look at other people that wanted to do it, I'm just trying to provide a preliminary, this is what I would look at and see preliminarily.
I don't think we'd have to do a bid for that dollar,
No.
but
Yeah, I don't object to quotes if you want to do that. I'm sure Chief Heffelfinger would be more than cooperative. I mean, on some instances that we've had there, they've been first responders anyway, so.
That's correct.
So I would like to see something in place within the next 2 weeks. So. Just so that we're not putting an extra burden on probation in case Ryan or Michael aren't there at the end of the day, so.
well, it needs to be consistent.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it right or don't do it at all. it's, so I agree with that. So you're thinking about engaging the Auburn Police Department then? for
Yes.
this, Instead of the sheriff's office?
Yeah, they're not, the sheriff's office is not in a position to provide those services.
What do you think, gentlemen?
I would make a motion to go ahead and move forward with engaging Auburn Police Department, bringing a contract or an agreement back to us to sign within the next 2 weeks to put this together. You know, if you all feel like you want to get multiple quotes, I don't, for $5,000, I don't know if it's necessary. I think Auburn PD would be just a natural fit, but I'm not crazy locked into that. But I would make a motion that we go ahead and proceed with hiring an agency to come in and do the daily checks, and then proceed with IT's cooperation with the cameras and so forth.
Your motion's to to go to select someone?
Yep.
Okay. I can second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments from the board or the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. We'll
Thank
get
you.
moving on it.
Obviously, I'll have to work directly with Susan to decide. I've agreed for the annex to take lead on that just because of the number of people we have, and obviously some of our clientele, along with Ollie's, can be the issue. So I'm more than happy to be the front of that issue. Whether the contract's put directly in our budget, I think we have a contract line. We'd be able to do that. I'll work directly with the chief of Auburn and try and get something. Obviously, we'll have to come back in, look at an actual contract delivered to you guys to make sure it's appropriate. And obviously, got to go through the city. So moving in 2 weeks, I absolutely appreciate the fact that you guys are taking that as serious as we do over there to provide a healthy and safe work environment for them. My hope is that we can move that fast too. You know, those legal guys, they like to put a lot of roadblocks around it.
What can I say?
So we will do our best to make sure that we can get that done.
I would encourage too, to anyone having a meeting there that isn't law enforcement, probably should maybe meet at a 24-hour facility where it can be monitored, like community corrections, or if it works for them, just to, you know what I'm saying? It's already secure, already open. They already have the staff there to clear it. You know, when everyone leaves, they know who comes and goes. Just a thought. You know,
Yeah.
law enforcement training, well, we expect law enforcement to be able to take care of themselves, make sure the building's secure, but
I'm not totally sure about having them at Central.
I don't know where. I'm just saying, every time I've been to Central, there's a big meeting room there is what I'm saying, and you got to come in and out of the
There
gate,
is.
and they got to buzz you
Yeah,
in.
I just don't know that it would be appropriate for certain things.
Yeah, maybe not.
And there might be some security issues for letting the public in
Well, it
and out
wouldn't be
of Central.
I assume it's not public. This is meetings for county employees, right?
No.
These are
Some of
public.
We're
them are
talking the
private.
extension
For the
office.
extension office.
Public.
They have
They have a-
sewing circles,
Oh.
and that's simplification, but
Okay.
yes, so there are a lot of that population come in for those late night meetings. They will do cooking schools, they will have, events that they open up to the public. You pay $5 to come in and learn how to make bath salts, things like that. So
I think you mean bath bomb.
Bath bombs, yes, bath bombs, bath salts.
I just say, we're not encouraging people to make drugs, so.
That was a head scratcher.
We've brought up a whole new
Maybe.
issue in a
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
All right, no
Yeah.
more meetings,
So
period.
Anyway, so we are, and unfortunately Alicia isn't here to address that, but there are quite a few. There are many times when I'm leaving the office, it'll be, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and the back door is unlocked. There's nobody in the parking lot except for maybe one car, and that would be somebody from Extension, and they're waiting to start their meeting at some time. So
Would you mind reaching out to Alicia?
I-
And just ask her how frequent those meetings
Sure.
are? And
Yeah,
what
I
kind
can
of
do
a
that.
schedule and so forth, just so we have some information to work with?
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because maybe security could be incorporated into that too. If they have a meeting, have them do a walkthrough after that.
And I completely
Yeah.
understand.
Yep.
Well, and
The-
some things like that maybe could even be done like at the fairgrounds or
That's what I said, Middle Hall maybe or something.
a
for that kind of
library
stuff.
or,
Yeah, a library or somewhere that's,
Yeah,
yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And I don't want to restrict anybody. Obviously, the
Right,
White
yeah.
Room has been a accessible. It's a large room.
Yeah.
It's it's easily scheduled by the county. It's close in proximity. I don't want to prohibit or start limiting people from using it. The problem is without a policy and procedure for anyone who uses it, they come and go as they please. Nobody's really who's responsible for it. Is it the person who scheduled it? Are they responsible for the walkthrough? And then you start asking yourself, who is it? How well are they doing? How, who did they let in, not let in? Without those policies and procedures and a true ground floor of what the expectations are, that's where the problems come from. It's not that those have been an issue. They've never been an issue as far as I know. But if we're going to move forward with this, we can tighten up that gap. The idea of looking at it and saying we have to deal with this much more like a private entity. As a security issue. Well, I don't know how many private entities expect their employees to provide the security and clear the building. So that's what has kind of led us to this solution. But no, I don't want to prohibit anybody from it. I don't think anybody should be limited. Hopefully, throughout the contract process, we can do the same thing, not limit anybody. Still provide that being an open room for people to come in and have those community meetings, just provide it in a much more, in a safer fashion for everybody long term. Again, thank you.
Thanks for taking the podium, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to Dottie.
Yes, we still have a few things. Let's look at that report that I dropped off to everyone. It is actually from IPEP and insurance trustees. If you will note, these are the claims, work comp that we have had since the beginning of the year. There are 14 of them. We only have 4 open at the time. And if you will note, there's a lot of zeros on there. A lot of things that we haven't had to pay for because these are simply record only. They just, the employees and the department heads are getting the idea that you need to file a claim and be able then be able to look back. If there is an issue, the employee then, a week later after an incident happens, then, hey, my back hurts. I think it's from when I fell off the ladder. We can go back, and IPEP has we've got a baseline. There's been a report on what's happening with it. So good news on those. And there is still one open from 2020 that there's, still things lingering on that one. So that one hasn't been closed. But from our safety committee meeting last week, both IPEP and insurance trustees are very encouraged by the trend that where we're headed. So that is good. Speaking of the safety committee meeting, we did have a report from the sheriff's office that they are formulating a plan for moving and the storage of that exercise equipment that is still there. There's not a deadline as far as we know, but the representative told us that they're working on a plan. So, and then in other news, Sunny Meadows is fully staffed. Da, 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 da. It's, knock wood. And actually, I do believe that Angela is going to be able to fill that, one of those extra positions that she had asked for, starting this year. There's still one of those that she has plenty of resumes to go over, applications to go over. So we're encouraged with that. So, yay. Now, let's see. The surveyor's office had an open office manager position that has been filled already. The community corrections has a part-time facility or a facilitator for the Change Academy that they're hoping to fill. Residential services there, they have someone who is starting this week, and that should bring them fully staffed, at least residentially. For the public defender's office, we are currently recruiting for another deputy public defender. One of them will be leaving us the end of this month, finishing up a couple cases, but then we'll be finished, so we need to find another one. Central is recruiting again for a dispatcher. They have one position open. The applications that we received the last go-round a couple months ago just weren't quite what they were hoping for, so we opened it up again. Probation, one of their office support positions. We are recruiting for that. And then there is also another, we had an opening for an officer. So we are recruiting for that one also. And lastly, the sheriff's office has asked us to reopen their confinement officer positions. So we're working on all of those. Busy, and the reason Morgan had to leave was she has an onboarding. And let's see, and Jenny Short in the coroner's office has hired another deputy coroner. Hopefully that will help with some scheduling. I will tell you, you guys read the news. You have deaths on the increase, and coroners having to go research these and check on these, and it's just like in law enforcement, cases are rising. It's not there's not a let up in the need in that department. So she just needed another one, and hopefully that one will have availability to help with the the openings. Open timing. Last but not least, I had a meeting last week with a company that had an innovation symposium in Indianapolis earlier in July that I wasn't able to attend. So it's a brokerage company, and they came in to give me the information, and the one representative said that he had at one point in time worked at Apex, and he gave me the time frame, and I said, "Oh, would you happen to know the person that we've had, who is basically persona non grata, who had worked at Apex and now has a lawsuit in the insurance industry?" And he said, yes, he knows our insurance friend infamously. So it was kind of an interesting conversation. I thought you guys would enjoy that. So anyway, do you have anything for me?
Anything for Dottie? Anyone?
Okay. Well, thanks again for working on that security thing. As we get into election time, who knows what kind of feelings, emotions are going to be happening, and we have open, the early voting in our building also to be aware of. So hopefully these things will help us stay safe, everybody. So thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Dottie. Have a good week. Okay. All right, we have Drainage Board approval variance between commissioners and Drainage Board for new Auburn Waterloo Trail.
So I know nothing about this besides getting the agreement.
Right.
I don't know if Andrew if he has
I'll see
anything.
if I can find my notes on it here.
We just
And I'm
approved
not,
it at Drainage Board.
I said, I'm not sure if
You already approved it.
they would,
Drainage
if
Board's already
Tyler or anybody
approved
would
it,
know
yeah.
to come.
Yeah. See, I forget how many crossings it was, but several anyway.
Right.
Where they're widening the trail up
Yeah.
there. Pretty standard
It's not a big
stuff.
deal,
It's
right?
not- No,
From what I read, it just,
not going to be
Yeah,
no
no.
problem at all.
We're talking about the drain the sidewalk and the drain, is that the issue in the variance?
Yeah, the trail going
Yeah.
across
Yeah.
drain easements.
I didn't see any problem with the language of it, I guess. So,
Yeah, Shannon probably wrote it, so.
okay, well, there you go.
Drainage board approved it
Shannon,
last
for
week.
his
Drainage board did approve it.
his cousin.
Yeah.
Do we need any action, any further action on that?
I
I think you have to.
You
have
guys have
You have to vote on it.
vote on it and sign it.
We just have to
Okay.
approve
Yeah.
it, right?
Just approve it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance on the drains for the Auburn Waterloo Trail construction.
A motion and a second. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. All sign. All sign. Okay. Looks like we got a little time. We move into miscellaneous. Oh,
Now that we're discussing it today.
Could have that.
I've been requested to try to do an update, and we needed to know what the actual ordinance was to be able to do the update. So this will give us the basis to go from.
So Bernie provided those this morning.
Okay. Yeah, I read his notes, I think, by email. He said,
Yes.
as far as inspecting like the food trucks at the fair on Saturday or Friday is kind of ridiculous and that kind of stuff.
Well, and I asked him what the state laws were, and he said that what they are doing is what a lot of departments have done, and it's allowed. So I'll draft up something to
okay.
at least have you have something to discuss and vote on. So.
All right then, moving forward, miscellaneous, payroll bi-weekly. Should we pay the people or?
We already did.
I think we can do a payroll.
That was the,
Let's do a payroll holiday.
Yeah, let's, we
I'll move to approve payroll.
And I will.
Since I second.
I will second.
have a motion second to approve payroll and additional comments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. Claims, we did have some claims. Those
yes.
come in last week, actually, right?
Yeah, so we had a special batch on the 18th. And then on the 22nd was our normal general claim run. So they've been processed, but this is just your actual formal approval of it.
Need the approval. Claims,
Motion to approve both sets of claims.
motion second to approve claims, both sets, actually. All those, any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, same. Motion's carried. Okay, minutes. We get a chance to read the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
I will second.
Motion and second to approve minutes. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Minutes are approved.
I do have one question on it. We had said that the commissioners, and I don't know if it was all of you, was going to send a reminder to everybody about the know before training and how important it was. You know, did any of you do that?
Do that immediately.
Does
following
anybody
the
want to
meeting.
do that? Okay.
I'll take care of it.
We can just send a group email, can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we all just send a group email to all county employees? That way it kind of makes the point. Thank you for reminding me.
Miscellaneous topics. Pearson Consulting
yep.
Contract Capital Asset Reporting.
Yep, that is my consultant that we use for our capital assets compilation, and then we have our numbers that we report on the AFR and whatnot. So this is a every year contract, and I always bring it to you guys to have you approve it and sign it.
It's standard, it's the same every year contract, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peterson Consulting.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Peterson Consulting.
But I think it was like 3,800, wasn't it?
I think 3750.
3750, yeah. Here it is. I'll second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay. Proposed holiday schedule. Get a chance to glance over that, look at that.
And it right now also. What was the reason to include the 2015 also with it, just for comparative purposes?
The election day.
Was it in the spreadsheet?
Yeah. You didn't mean to then. You probably just grabbed it.
No, Leanne does them for me, and
Oh,
it
okay.
probably just was an extra tab.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right. I was just curious. I thought maybe you're,
No,
because election day is highlighted
yeah, no.
on the 2015.
No, it was just a part of our spreadsheet, probably.
It's basically
13 days again, right?
same as last year.
Is that, you think everyone would be happy with this? I mean, this is,
I
I'm
think-
sure they'd all like Juneteenth, but we're not going there again.
yeah, I don't want to address that again.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, it's pretty much
satisfied.
like it has been.
So, okay, well, I make a motion to approve the 2025 holiday schedule.
I will second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. Children's First Request Letter. What do we got there?
Basically, they're asking for another 10 grand above the 34,000 we paid them,
Correct.
what way I understand the letter, additional appropriation. I don't know. I think we do one, we have to do them all. We've said it every year what we're going to give. I think we should stick to that. Unless there's a huge need. I mean, something like, hey, we're going
That's a
to.
pretty big jump.
Well, they just want a one-time another 10 grand is what I'm saying. They don't want to go to 44 a year. I think they're just asking for a special
Oh, just
10,000.
one.
Yeah, the way I read the letter,
That's how I take it.
yeah.
I mean, that's not to say they could send the letter every year.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm
But,
saying. But I
yeah.
think every year we send an amount, we set an amount we give, and I think we should stick to it. Otherwise, we're gonna get other entities, well, hey, so you get 10 grand, we could use another 15, or, we could, I just think it's best to set it every year, and unless there's a real special need, like, hey, we got a crisis going on, got this ARPA money, we're really short, then I think it's appropriate to consider, but your thoughts, Mike?
I agree. Like, if we're going to consider it, kicking another 10 grand, I'd like to have them come in and talk to us a little bit more specific. But there's so much need out there that we just never keep up with it on our
Right.
budget. I mean, CASA's out of money, they're about ready to go under, and
Who is?
CASA,
Awesome.
court-appointed special advocate.
Oh, okay.
For kids' cases.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you meant the restaurant, I say, oh,
No,
I
no,
love
no.
that place.
No, it's different CASA.
Are you hungry?
Yeah. Okay.
And we have a lot of great organizations in the county, and there's a great deal of financial need, but I don't know that we have the resources to fill all those.
So My personal opinion would be just every year we give a certain amount, and like I said, unless there's a dire need, someone
Yeah,
gives
okay.
tin cup out, hey, we're dying here if we don't get this, then you, but
It's been set for next year, I assume? Yeah, that's all
Yeah,
been
we've
set.
got-
every year we do it budget, we
Right.
go through and
Part of
say
the
so
budget.
much here, so much there, and we
And I
adjusted
wouldn't be
them.
opposed to each year a little bump, maybe, as
Sure.
far as that goes.
Yeah,
I mean, we see what the cost of living's doing and everything else.
yeah.
But, yeah, this is,
We didn't bump it for 25. If you want to bump it, I can still put that in. For the 3. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about.
I'm actually good with what we did. I'd like to stick with what we did, but that's my personal opinion. I don't think anything's really changed since we decided.
I tend to agree with Todd on that one. And if something special comes up and they want to come in and make a presentation and give us some detailed information, we could consider those circumstances. But
okay, so we'll leave it same, and
Right.
it's already been said, we'll leave it same. Okay, takes care of that. Capital Improvement Plan Discussion. Gotta have that, expires 12/31/2024, end of the year.
Yes, so I believe I had attached that to your guys' info. Did I?
Yeah, it's the
now I don't
resolution.
remember.
2022 R20, is that what
Oh,
you're talking
yeah,
about?
that's the one.
It's the one that's misspelled.
Yeah, that's the one that we didn't spell right. Okay.
Our attorney didn't catch in Sienna. Wait,
Yeah.
He wasn't around. Oh, yeah, he was around. You read these things?
I'm just kidding. Well, I read
This
contacts.
Okay, but to be fair, this one I would have done and he would have
I'm-
just reviewed.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
So,
We try to catch this.
yeah, we need to decide on your projects and things to be able to redo this for your lighted monies that you
Right.
have. So like, one of them that we need to add in here is your debt service payment for the highway bond. That will be
Right.
one that we put in.
Okay.
So just kind of be thinking and
I think we should review this and decide, and how much is that debt service bond gonna be, on the bond gonna be, do you know?
it's over 800.
A year?
Yeah.
800,000 a year?
Yeah, it's over that. I'd have to look at it specifically.
Okay.
But I just wanted to bring this to your attention now, so we don't frantically run out by
Right,
the end of the year and don't have a plan on this.
sure.
So I'll keep bringing it back, and I didn't have time this weekend to actually give you certain things that I know are gonna be out of there, but you guys can think as well, and if you want any specific changes, then let me know.
Do we know what our actual revenue was? You said this is in '22, but our revenue for 2023 we expected was 1.7 million. Do you know if that had turned out?
I can.
Because I'd like to know what we think the expected revenue is for,
Yep.
24.
So in '24, for your lighted, it was 2,030,000.
Oh, it was? So it went up quite a bit. 2 million and, okay. Because then we need to figure in 800,000 worth of debt service for the bond and then these other items and come up with a plan here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think 2025 estimates just came out, so I can look at that.
If you could find out what you think that is, that'd be great. And
Yeah.
give us some guidance there that way.
One thing, developmental services needs attention, of course. And be getting into that here shortly.
Yeah.
Highway's pretty much complete,
Yep.
so that looks like that's the next thing on that, of course, the bridge, but I think we have that covered,
Which one?
the bridge roof.
Oh, the roof, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay. So we need to keep that on our agenda here to,
Yeah, I'll probably take it off for
yeah.
a month or so, and then we'll revisit it again.
Yeah, but like I said, when you
Yeah,
get
we'll
those
just-
estimate numbers for 25, let me know, or let us know, and then
Yeah.
we'll pencil in some numbers here.
okay. All right, I see Chris just walk in the door. We might as well just get him up here and get him in and out.
Morning, Chris.
We don't want to hold him up on projects.
Doing okay.
I did not print off a clean copy.
Well, of course.
Thank you.
This is just the continuance of the ordinance for the building code and building permit fees that we've discussed for a little while now, off and on for maybe the last 3 or 4 months. Just to highlight kind of the major changes, page 2, again, is that log cabin rule that we've had a lot of people discuss, and the code kind of says it's for private homes, but that also means accessory structures as well, which we never interpreted that way. So having that in there will help us and whoever is here in the future determine what the log cabin rule means. On page 4, allowing for the attorney fees to be collected over just the penalties that they pay. That wasn't in there. That's something that typically you can ask the courts for, right?
Right, right.
And,
There's a limit to the fines, but they would allow you to get attorney fees on top of it, but our ordinance wouldn't allow that, and we did come up against that in the Minzer Zion
Yeah,
case.
yeah,
Where it
and they
would have
only
been
gave it-
helpful to get a little bit more money back.
Yeah.
Pay for the cost of what the people cost.
Yeah. And then the fees on page 6, 7, and 8. Briefly go through those. Basically, we doubled the residential building fees and tripled commercial and industrial. They were all the same at 5 cents per square foot. I think I showed you guys, we had been working with those fees for quite some time. And I think that once this gets established, we need to probably have some discussions on, like I said, doing an interlocal, or not interlocal, non-reverting fund that either half of the fees could go into or the full set of fees, so we can, in 3 years, pay for a truck without having to appropriate that money from council. Kind of a user fee through building departments, pay for the building department side of things, whether that's the building inspector salary included in that, a new truck every probably 3 or 4 years, tires for the truck, those things could be worked out, but I think that goes through council, right, Susan?
Yes.
Yeah, so it gets established through council, but if I could have the support of commissioners, I think that would be helpful to go to them and say, we've changed the fees, we'd like to create the non-reverting fund to help pay for, offset the cost of the building department. I think it could save the county significant dollars over the course of the lifetime, but especially if, half of his salary could go to that based on this and things like that. So anyway, things to think about, but doubling the permit fees for residential, tripling them for commercial and industrial, and then adding in there as well, kind of the residential accessory buildings. We didn't have residential accessory buildings in our
Right.
permit fees, we have residential accessory buildings in our permit fees. We don't have anything for commercial accessory buildings or commercial agricultural buildings. So I kind of reworded the it was accessory buildings. I added the word residential to the front of it. This is number 5 on page 6, letter V. Rewording kind of what it said and then adding a number 6 for commercial agricultural buildings. Basically using those as anything that would be less than, I'm trying to read this real quick, hold on, because I wrote it last week and you sleep since then. That may be below or at or above the CFO standards. So we're taking, at least for the building permit fee, we can have it labeled quote unquote correctly to mirror what the actual use is. We didn't have anything. There was nothing in the ordinance. We didn't have anything in our permit schedule. So, but it'd be considered the primary or accessory building on the property of any type that may be the primary or primary adjacent use of the property. What I mean by primary adjacent is if there is a single family house on there and they build something like what we've been discussing for the past 2 weeks, this chicken barn, in my eyes, and I think the eyes of the public, you see those as 2 uses on the property that could be both the primary use, the single-family house and the business. So that's why I'm saying primary adjacent. I don't know. I didn't really know what else to say. But if that makes sense, good. That could be for including storage of equipment for commercial agricultural uses. So that, commercial agricultural can mean soybean farming, can mean corn crops, can mean hay, because obviously farmers, this is their livelihood. So it's considered a commercial business. Any animal barns used for commercial agriculture that may be below the IDEM confined feeding operation requirements, and any animal barns used for commercial that may be at or above the IDEM confined feeding operation requirements. And then any type of roadside sales or signs of displayed. And those are at 15 cents per square foot. So putting them in the same category as a commercial or industrial building.
Which makes sense.
Which makes sense, yeah.
And it's not that big of a deal, these fees. I know tripling sounds like a lot, but a 20,000 square foot building's only $300.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inspection and thinking
Yeah.
has to, more than $300 worth of extra work there.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
So, yeah.
And then back to the residential, I will touch on that because of the residential accessory structures in 5. I kind of reworded it to make it seem more residential. So it's sheds, barns, things for hobby farming. If you have building a horse barn, that's maybe a large horse barn, but you have 10 horses out there and it's hobby farming, quote unquote, that's okay. It's not considered a commercial business,
Yeah.
So more things like that.
If they
Farm
were
equipment
running a
storage.
business out of it, though, wouldn't that be, if they were, let's say, you call it
Doing
hobby
stables or
farming, but
something?
let's say you're boarding horses.
Yes, we'd
That'd be
consider
commercial.
that, right.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, all right. Just make sure, so their own personal use, if they have 10
Correct.
horses, that's up to them. Right, okay, great.
Any questions on this for me? I know we've been through it a lot, but
I like the rewording.
I think I hope it makes more sense. The problem is, once we get into it, we'll probably have some tweaks to come back in a year or two maybe, but.
Sure, you always do.
The verbiage of the fee schedule has not been revised since it was created back in I'd have to remember when it was. I know we revised it in 2021. It could have been either 2000 or 1976
Wow,
when the verbiage of all this was created. So, just FYI.
things have changed since then. CFOs.
A lot.
sorts of,
A lot, right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
written
Okay.
before the internet. Everything's pre-internet or post-internet.
Even in 2000.
Yeah,
It was, kind of the internet was just starting, and
Yeah.
when I was maybe
I think you're wrong. I think
Freshman
Al
in
Gore,
high school?
Didn't Al Gore create that in 1952 or something? I can't remember.
the internet?
Christopher,
Or did I say 18,000?
Mike gets it.
I get it, yeah, definitely.
I was a freshman, in college,
Yeah,
yeah.
high school. I thought you meant high school.
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
no, we would have
No.
been graduated.
I can't remember when the internet was invented. I can remember when it was, but I don't remember the year.
Do you like what you see here then? You're happy
I'm
with
comfortable
this?
with it. I think it's been chucked around enough, and Andrew reviewed it prior to. I think it makes sense.
I think Chris has done a good job of rewording this, and I think it clarifies a lot. Like you said, 2 years from now, someone's going to challenge something and say, this isn't, and then
it's
we
not-
have to tweak it again, which I get.
Not a set in stone forever.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Set
Not
in
at all.
stone for today,
Yeah.
Okay.
Need a motion to approve?
Yeah, which,
The resolution number?
this 20,
6.
or this is number 6.
2024-R-6.
I'd make a motion to approve DeKalb County Resolution 2024-R-6 for the DeKalb County Development Services Building Department
On first reading.
on first reading.
I will second.
Okay, motion and second. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. You want to suspend the rules and do second and third reading?
I move that we suspend the rules and consider Resolution 2024-R-6 on second and third reading by title only.
And I will second that by title.
A motion and second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. The same. Motion carries. It is unanimous, so we can go ahead with second and third
All
reading.
we did was suspend the rules, now we have to vote on the ordinance.
Yeah.
We can go ahead with the,
You want to make a motion to approve the ordinance?
Yeah, I'll make a
Okay.
motion to approve the resolution 2024 R-6.
And I will second.
Yep,
On second and third reading.
on second, third, yes.
a motion and second, and a second on second and third reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Hey, Chris, did
Thank
you
you,
see
Chris.
the 11 o'clock on the agenda? Okay.
I'll be back too for I was asked just to be here for the holiday leagues.
Okay, great. Great.
Appreciate your work on this. Thank you.
Susan, you'll get that published?
That was a lot of seconds and
Gonna
seconds.
record it?
Hey, I'll just make rule suspension primary.
Might as well.
Just get rid of the, unless it's over $10 million, I don't know. Oh, that's really official. Yeah, uh-huh.
Make sure I have it. in the right order. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, moving on. Next topic is ARPA plan options. What do you think, gentlemen?
Yeah, I just have the spending ideas pulled back up.
But what Susan put together made a whole lot of sense. We're still retaining the bulk of the money. We just stopped the clock from running, and we could use it more at our leisure than being tied to the deadlines at
we
the
have-
end of this year, the end of '26.
Yeah, because we have the plan in place, so we're
Right,
good there
yeah.
by the end of the year, and then if
Yeah.
we have to,
And the other advantage is you could do it end of the year report and you're done with ARPA.
I think the only one that may go over into the next year would be that Bridge 17. I don't know when
Oh.
that's supposed to happen, but that might just go over to the next year, which would only be one thing to,
maybe we could ask Ben on that one, Bridge 17. Because that was what,
Well,
1
We could still work around that, I believe, if we move that either into Cube Bridge or use it for highway operations and then take
There you
what
are,
Ben's got set aside, so we could
yeah,
work around that one too.
yeah. I'm pretty good with what Susan presented here. And the sooner we just put it to bed, we don't have to worry about it, and then, like you said, we can maneuver later if we need to.
Yeah, yeah.
But
absolutely.
I'm happy with what I see.
so what, I have three different options.
Well, I know. Well, what I'm saying is I'm happy with,
Okay.
I think we need to discuss it now and see what you want to do, but so the balance is 4.8 million, basically, 4847, right, as of 7/12. I don't know, what do you guys like? What are we figuring on the audit fees realistically? I know we at one time said 10% or something, but, or 5%, or, but surely it can't be that, right? I mean,
No, because I can only I only pay for it out of here if that grant was audited.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, I can't spend it on the entire audit.
Right.
I think. Relatively, the amount of our funds are fairly small, so I think our chance of an audit is probably fairly slim.
Slim.
So I think we ought to set aside a little bit. The only thing that concerns me in any way with the audit is that the State Board of Accounts doesn't do the audit. They hire somebody to do the ARPA audits. So if they decided to pull the trigger and audit it, we would have some expense there. So I'd hate to take that to zero, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well,
if we could,
2023 audit is done. It's done. I can't remember what the State Board of Accounts did that audit, and they did the coronavirus grant. So for 23, so it'd be whether you kept it for on years down the road.
if we could, what do we got side there? If we could maneuver that so that you could do a final ARPA report at the end of this year, maybe keep 50,000 aside in case we get audited and call it a good one. That would be my suggestion.
And we could always pay for audit out of a different fund, right? I mean, it's, like I said, I think we need to spend the much of this money as we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, well, it's all going to be in county general, we just
Right.
moved it around, so.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
so the funds are actually going to be there.
Yeah, they're gonna be there, yeah. Like I say, I can't imagine an audit being hundreds of thousands of dollars for us spending on 25 different items. I mean, how hard is that to research? It's not like we're spending on 2,500 projects, you know?
Right.
Right.
So, so which options do you guys like then?
Well,
And 1.4 million to health insurance. 0.4 million to the County Road 56. I'm on the last bottom right there.
Yeah,
Sunny Meadows AC, we didn't know what it is, now we do. Audit fees, Mike kind of said, you know, throw 50 grand down there just as a, and then the gutters, I don't know what that is, but I kind of like that last option there.
yeah,
And they're all very similar.
yeah. That gets our repairs caught up at the jail,
Yeah.
gets us out of the woods on that, covers the bridge.
The only difference
Buttons up
with
the
the
highway department.
What's that?
The only difference with the bottom one versus the other two is the bottom one does not include any of the liability insurance for this year. If you
Right.
wanted that included.
Right. It's just, it doesn't matter where we spend it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? We're just kind of,
putting an earmark on it for now.
yeah, we're earmarking it. And that'd be I would go with the bottom right one. Well, on mine, it's bottom right, but starts off with remaining highway contingency, 232, bridge 17, 1.3, jail chiller. I kind of like that as a template for now.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah, I'm in favor of that.
good at that.
If you're kind of like that.
I'll
you got a
kind of like
motion?
that and make motion that we target the 4.847 million of remaining ARPA money to bottom right option here, and if you want to read it out, add Sunny Meadows, we know that figure of 26,000. Add that into there and whatever the gutters might be. At
For the
20,
auditor to take it.
550.
and the auditor take it to council. There you are, that's my motion.
I will second that motion.
Okay, motion on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. All right, that's out of our hair. DART invoice
Yeah,
approval. Submission approval, I should say.
So they provided their normal quarterly update and all the values, like their fares and all that. They provided that to us. It was very late in the day.
yeah.
When she asked about this, and it looked like our schedule was just packed. So she just provided it to me. So the operating administration invoice for quarter two is in the amount of $101,846. And there is federal funding in that of $67,897, and then a state match of $33,949.
Total of 101 was the request.
Yeah.
Local match is 33,949, right?
Yeah, I need to add.
Huh?
Yeah, that's what she has up there, but that
Is that,
doesn't equal 101,846.
that equals 135,000
35.
basically. I need a little clarification on that.
I see there was a change in the match for vans, for the handicap vans. Went from 2080 to 1585. Did I catch that correctly?
Let me take a look here. Got to change forms. Someday I'll learn how to use this. What page is that, Bill? What, is
Are
that,
you talking about the trips? No.
Yeah, the vans, the
Have
transportation vans.
is that the commissioner report,
Oh.
June 20?
Okay, so she has that there's 15 part-time drivers employed currently. They receive federal funding for 2025 for minivans at 85% with 15% match, which is 5% higher match than they had been in previous years. It was 80-20.
Yeah.
And so now they're doing 85-15.
Oh,
Both minivan and transit have been delivered. Van is on the road, still getting transit ready for service, and they're going to be selling a minivan from 5310 funding on Wednesday, the 31st, for $4,000 to a family in town that is in need of a wheelchair capability for their dad.
I mean, it's all the same money coming out of different pots, is all a little less out of our local.
right.
So it gives us a little more to work with locally, not a whole lot, but every little bit helps, as we know.
Yeah, back to that federal 67,897, state 33,949, local 33,949, total 135. She has that down. But do we actually kick in the 33? Or,
So the invoice requesting is actually for the 101,846 because the local would be funds that they already have.
funds they already have?
Where
Okay,
the other two, the federal and the state, that 101,846 is what will be sent to us
I
to
gotcha.
pass through to them.
I got
So
you.
they already had, they're using some of their funds that they already had for part of it.
Okay.
So for the invoice, so we need the motion to approve her to submit the 101,846 and for just Bill to sign the invoice.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
A motion and second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Interesting, do about the same trips. There are more trips than 2023 at our current rate.
Okay.
So I have one more thing that came in later.
what you got?
Cheryl Lynch with Health Department, she provided the Vantage Point Consulting staffing agreement. This is also something that we have done before. And Andrew was able to review it in the short time and is fine with the verbiage and whatnot. So
What exactly do they do? I read it here about the reports and services, but is this specifically for the special funding we receive for the state for the health department?
No.
It's not?
No, this was prior to that.
It was, okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought too originally when I read that for the new state.
Okay, so it has
They do all the bill writing.
emergency action planning, whatever pod activation is. ESF 8 activities, that's that, where we get those text messages or an email, like, so they know how fast we get the messages to respond.
Yeah.
Any planning and policy review for the actual health department. Instructing the health department in regard to general incident command and emergency operations. And I believe that they had, I believe this first came into play when COVID happened and we started having the vaccine clinics.
Okay.
So we contracted with them, and I mean, I honestly can't tell you exactly what they did, but they were able to help get everything together for the, at that time, it was an emergency vaccines to be able to be given. Other than that, I'm not real sure.
How many years have we done this? Since COVID?
Well, at least since COVID, yeah. Let me see if I can find
From the legal standpoint, the contract is fine, but obviously.
Sure, yeah. Yeah. Says VPC will provide all needed services to the county health department to comply with said department's obligations and duties with regard to emergency action planning, pod activation, ESF 8 activities, and provide all requested assistance with regard to health department plan and policy review development, yada, yada.
We started it, our first payment was October of 2020, and that was COVID testing sites. So we had 5 invoices with COVID testing site. Then in 23, it was, looks like preparedness, staffing service. 24 so far, we've done EP contractor program services.
I assume Cheryl believes
Preparedness
this is
staffing.
necessary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't talked to her about this. This first I saw it was when you sent this, and so obviously that we've been in this program, I just curious what exactly they do for us for 25,000. I know it spells out a paragraph here, but That's something we can't handle internally. I don't know.
I don't know. You want to hold off on this?
I'd maybe like to just talk, unless it's urgent that it has to be done, I'd almost like to talk to her and just say, you know, what exactly
Let me see if I
are we
can
getting for
get
our
her.
25,000? Because that's a fairly big chunk of money, you know.
I'll send her a message and see if I can get an answer. Maybe we'll have it
Yeah.
Okay,
break.
let's do that. Let's put it on hold for now.
Yeah.
Okay. We got
Time for the pledge, isn't it?
Todd, I know you were away. Are you gonna help me with this stand energy thing?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm on top of that right now.
Okay.
Chris Gelmer would like to get on the schedule to talk to, Chris Zerniak with
Like, wait, what?
Pan Energy. He'd like to present to us what we're paying for
guys.
and
Okay.
break it down. And then where you got to be careful is you might not have been even talking to NIPSCO. You could have been talking to a,
No, I wasn't. I know I wasn't.
oh, okay, all right. I didn't know.
Yeah, I know
okay.
I wasn't, and that's why I wanted you to contact those people
Right.
so that they could explain it to you.
Yes.
Also,
I'm more interested in hearing from Chris, and then I'd really like to talk to NIPSCO directly. Because NIPSCO, they're regulated like everyone. AEP, they can only charge what the regulation says, and of course, they hedge their positions. What Stan Energy does, they hedge the position privately.
Right.
And then NIPSCO basically, we pay for the services of transportation of it through NIPSCO. That's a set fee. Stan Energy is supposed to save us money by hedging our position with the market. But I'd like to know if we're actually saving any money versus just going with the regulated. Kind of like when Mike and I sat on city council, we approved electric contracts, they were regulated, you know, and we had to approve that. We didn't go out and buy energy in the wholesale market on a hedge. And I'm wondering now, are we saving any money by hedging a position through a private entity, or are we better off just to go with NIPSCO? What I don't like to do is to get into these resellers for NIPSCO, and I assume that's what they are. Because,
Those are the telemarketers.
well, that's why
yeah.
I was hoping that you would call them
Yeah.
so you could talk also.
Well, I'd be
and
happy to
see.
talk to him, but I want to know where we stand with Stan first. What are we paying for?
Yeah.
What can NIPSCO give us? And then if you want to hear the spiel from these folks, we can do that too. But I think we need to know what our two primary options are first, and then, because if you think about it, a third party, they're just reselling, Whereas-
Taking a profit.
taking a cut.
Yeah.
Whereas, kind of like when AT&T was broken up, you know, and then everyone wanted to sell you long distance. Well, we can do it for 20 cents a minute. I look back at that and think how ridiculous that was, but anyway, here nor there.
So the two invoices that we had that was not contracted with Stan and had nothing, do you want me to take it out of that?
What do you mean take it out of that?
The N-Therm people, for now, I had put them in at the 31.7 cents per therm
You've put them in where?
with N-Therm.
I don't understand what you're telling me. You've put what with Entherm?
The two highway ones that are not in with Stan.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, no, I think we need to, so we already have invoices for the highway department, is what you're saying? Through who? I thought Stan would have picked up the highway department. That's part of our, shouldn't that automatically been,
Let's pick us up after the
Okay.
break.
Yeah,
we're-
all right.
We're up against the clock.
From NIPSCO.
from NIPSCO? The bills are from NIPSCO. Okay, I'd like to see them after the, matter of fact, can I see it real quick?
Here we are. We are back. And Ben, you are up. What you
Morning,
got
guys.
today?
Well, I got some just informations for you and then a few quotes today. Just for information purposes, today, API is supposed to be starting on their CCMG. They got moved back a week to start due to not getting a milling machine to do all the deep patches. So they're supposed to be starting that today on County Road 29, working over to 60, and then finishing up on 46A. And then they are also supposed to be starting on that 54 over there in Garrett when they do Garrett's project. So that's coming soon as well. And then for us, today, we are starting on County Road 40 with specialties. So County Road 40 between County Road 5 and the Noble County line will be closed for the next 1 to 2 weeks. So we're doing an FDR on that, widening that, and then going to go back through and surface over that. So
What's an FDR again?
full depth reclamation. We're grinding that and putting cement in it.
Oh, okay, wow.
And,
What road was that?
County Road 40 between 5 and Noble County line. So that was the part.
Mile,
No, it's just over a mile and a half, I believe.
mile and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the specialties are supposed to be starting on that today, so that will be going on for next week or two. Hopefully weather works with us. So we did get with all the neighbors out there and left notes and things on the doors, and a lot of them's pretty excited to be getting their road done, so. And then, County Road 5 got complete with the base from the millings from State Road 8 from Brooks. So that road is still under construction. Hopefully we'll have that, we're planning on finishing that at the same time when we finish 40. We're gonna do them both together.
Okay.
So, and then I had a request from the Hamilton Street Department. He's asked me a while back and I forgot to ask. I talked to you guys briefly in the past about that. We have some old V-blades down there that went on our trucks that are too narrow for our newer trucks.
What are they?
The V-plows.
Oh, Viva, okay.
Oh,
They would like to purchase one from us. They want to have it sandblasted and finished and have their school paint their thing. They built a new building up there and wanted to set one out front. I do have one that could go if you guys don't have an objection with me allowing them to purchase one from us. We sold another one for scrap price not too awful long ago. I'd be willing to do that again with one if you guys want to name a price on it, I think you could do that because we're selling to another municipality, so they don't have to go out for bids or anything like that. So we can either name a price to them for a V-blade or I can sell it for scrap.
Are you saying bead?
V-blade.
B.
Yeah, V is in Victor.
Ah, okay.
They're old. Some of the tags I found on some of them was dated back to the 50s.
1950s?
Yeah, so they've been there a while.
Pretty old.
Yeah, I did buy 4 since I've been here. I actually need to start looking at purchasing some more. It's one of them things that they may sit there a long time. The 4 I bought when I started, we haven't ran them. We've been fortunate enough I had to use them, but
What are these used for? I plow and snow, but I mean, what vehicle?
they go on all of our dump trucks.
But they're too narrow, the ones you
Yeah,
want to get.
the older blades are narrower than what our newer trucks are.
Okay, so the newer trucks
So
are
as
bigger.
a truck started, going
wider.
in the future, they've gotten wider.
I see.
Yeah, so actually, the single axle dump trucks now are cutting in the edge of the snow. Because during the winter 13, 14, we've got oil, what do you call them, go on the front hubs, got the oil containers on them. Mm-hmm. Them was actually getting broke off in the winter because they was running into the snow,
Really?
because the wings aren't wide enough to be throwing the snow out.
So how wide are the new blades? Are they full
I
8
would have
foot
to- I'd have to measure it.
or 8.5? How wide can you be on a road? Is it 8 or 8.5? So,
I think 8.5.
so they're probably the full 8.5 then,
I
aren't
bet
they?
they are. They're a monster. The
Yeah.
new ones are.
But they're heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have no problem selling it to them for scrap if it's from another
I was
municipality.
going to say, yeah.
Especially if they're 50 years old plus. I mean,
Yeah.
that makes sense to me. We're not going to use them.
That's vintage, man. That's extra value.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to get rid of all of them until we get some to release. Better than nothing.
Yeah.
But I did purchase 4 new ones, and the ones that I'm willing to get rid of aren't the best.
Yeah. Be fine
Quality
with
anyway.
me. Do we need a motion or just a consent, or, I'd make a motion that we, it was for Hamilton, or
Hamilton Street Department.
that we sell one of the V-Blade, old V-Blade units for scrap price to Hamilton.
Second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
Okay,
Were you setting a price or no?
This
I
is
was
whatever
gonna
the
say,
scrap value is.
how do you figure out what scrap price is?
OmniSource has it.
I'll just call and get the scrap.
The amount
that's-
of weight and.
Yeah, and it's
and-
clean scrap since it's all steel that's not,
Burnt
so they
OmniSource
give you a
price.
clean scrap for that.
Yeah.
I think it works out to what, 3 cents? Percents or
If it's,
something
you
like
know,
that.
if it's $150 a ton, that's probably a 2,000
Yeah.
pound, I'll have to get the specs on it.
Yeah. Yeah, they go by the ton, but you get a little more, because since it's clean, it's all, whereas a car is cheaper, has glass and interior.
Here's these quotes I'll pass you around. I got some quotes from ARI. Actually, Dusty got them. This is the same company we got our new lifts through. We've been real happy with. This is on a tire changing machine and also a balancing machine that will do our big truck tires and also the small tires. I'd like to get these purchased for the new shop. If you guys are okay with that. This is part of, I was hoping to use some of our contingency funds through Greg Marks on this. Greg is able to purchase these. I just gotta get him a quote. The tire changing machine would help us substantially. We've been doing it by hand.
You gotta see what they do with these guys, it's crazy. I told
It's-
him when I first met Ben, I said, where's your tire changer machine? He goes, that bar right there. I said, you gotta be kidding me. I wouldn't even
No.
do that with a car tire.
We've done it for a lot of years, and
Man,
I did 18 of them here this last winter.
it's work.
I whooped.
You're
I
just
wouldn't-
leveraging it with a pry bar?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You work it and pull, work and pull. It's kinda dangerous too.
And then,
Yeah.
then you soap it up.
That's a work comp.
Yeah,
I'm
That's where I was
screaming.
going with
Not,
it.
not as bad as the old split rim tires.
No, we don't touch split rim.
No, that's dangerous.
But you know
very.
what? It's kind of comical because when you start the tire on there, you get it soaped up, you start the engine, you jump on it like a monkey, try to pop it on the bead, and I may or may not have rolled on a couple of them. The guys thought it was kind of funny, you know, and it's just,
You're supposed to use starting fluid to do that.
they build equipment for this.
That's how I did it.
You know, and if you think about it, for the size of them tires, what they charge to take it off, mount it, remount it, put it back on the truck, it's about $60 a wheel.
Yeah.
On an average, I asked Dusty, we do probably 100 a year. Well, that will pay for that in 2.5 years. So,
Plus the ability to do it right there and be
you
done.
know,
Right. Time saved
you know.
and maybe body. You know, it's inviting a hernia.
Oh, when he
yeah.
told me they were manhandling those, I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, is this decent equipment? Is it fairly decent? I know it's probably not the top of the line, but is it decent stuff?
It's pretty nice stuff.
Is
It's,
it?
yeah, I watched some YouTube videos with them over on it. They mounted and dismounted a tire, or a semi-tire in 2.5 minutes. Took it off, put it back on.
Wow, that's
That
amazing.
machine, yeah.
Yeah.
So it picks the rim up. You wheel it up, you stand it up. It comes in on the side and it picks the rim up. Takes
Yeah.
off. You don't have to manually pick it up.
Well, that's
put it
what I
on.
told him too. I said, are you picking these up and putting them on? He goes, yeah. I said, these things are a couple 100 pounds. I mean, it's some serious work.
Yeah, and I figured 240, 250 pounds with the wheel and the
Yeah,
tire.
it's just a tire. The rears are about 165,
Yeah.
165 pounds, just a tire. And the rim, 80, 90 pounds
Yeah.
probably for a rim.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're not running Alcoa aluminum rims on our vehicles, are we?
No, we take them off, we repair them. If we break a rim, we change the rim. I mean, we're mounting and dismounting
Yeah,
pretty regularly. So it would be a wise investment.
I agree.
I agree.
I think I'd make a motion that we approve the hydraulic wheel changer and balance for a total of $26,365.65,
356.
or $356.60. Yes.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same.
And you're going to use
Motion carries.
contingency money for that?
Through Greg March, yes.
Yeah, Mark's contingency money, so.
Do you want to sign one of them, Bill, and get back to me, then I'll just mail that to Greg?
Give me a clean one.
Yep.
And if Susan wants to sign one, I can give you mine unless you got another one.
You need-
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am. How long will it take you to get those? Don't know.
I asked Dusty that today and he didn't ask, so hopefully not as long as it took to get the lifts.
After we get moved in there, doesn't
Right.
matter really.
So, no, I appreciate that. You guys will be tickled with that.
No, that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Good
kind of
job,
surprised we
Ben.
didn't have one before, to be honest with you.
I was shocked when I talked to you. Like,
We do a lot of tires. So, we got a lot of equipment. The next thing I have for you, this was emailed to me today. I don't know if you guys are interested in it. She was out last week, according to her email, Ashley from the IDNR, to look at the covered bridge, and they noticed that the roof was needing repaired, and wanted to know if I would be interested in participating in the grant that's going to be released in a couple of weeks. The grant now is up to $75,000. The roof would be eligible, but it does extend our agreement covenants if you guys want to stay under that. They did change the dates. I asked about it. So a $50,000 grant now requires a 5-year covenant, and the $75,000 grant now requires a 10-year covenant, which was what was previously 15 years. So right now, we are under a covenant, till December 31st of 2030. So this would, if we did that, that would take us out till 2040. That we would be bound
What?
through them.
So we're not in one now?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Until
It'd be extending
2030.
till 20, it'd extend us to 2040.
It wouldn't be concurrent terms, it would be an extension after.
Yep.
Oh, is that?
Do we know if we can do a metal roof yet? That would be my.
I am still, I'm going to email Steve again today, because I got to get the specifications and the literature on that roof to send to her, and I have not gotten that.
Because we might be better off to not take the money and do a metal roof. You know what I'm saying? We have to weigh our options. I
Well,
guess.
we won't, if they won't allow it, we won't be able to do
Well,
it.
we might have to tarp it until then, I don't know, or patch it until then. You know what I'm saying?
10 years if we did the 75.
What I'm saying is, I hate to enter an agreement
Yeah.
and then find out that
December
the cedar
31st,
costs the same as the metal.
If it's gonna extend it another 10 years and it prohibited us from putting metal on,
Right.
where we might be able to patch.
We could
it
patch it until then to get us by to 2030.
If they won't let us do the
If they
metal.
won't let us do metal, get to the 2030,
And then do
and,
the metal.
yeah, that's my opinion, guys, before we enter another agreement for 75 grand, because we
Well,
spent
the
75,000
last one
like
got
that.
ate up before we got it,
Yeah, exactly,
and cost of living, COLA,
right.
not cost of living, but cost of everything.
What was your,
I think we ought to let Ben find out if a metal roof is gonna be acceptable that looks like shake, and then I think that should guide our decision whether or not to extend,
Yeah,
so.
agreed.
No, we'd have to apply for it.
Right, but with a phone call, you could probably get an idea, hey, has this ever been allowed to do a metal roof that looks like shake? What's your
Well, I
guys'
emailed her that back when I did our covenants agreement for this year. And she just responded to get her the information.
Okay,
And in this email here today, I let her know this morning, I'm aware of the roof, and we did put it in the budget with plans of doing it next year. I'm waiting on the literature from our contractor, that way I can send to you and see if you'd be in agreement with the cedar look, with the metal shape, with the metal material. And I asked about the additional covenants being extended, and then I got a reply from Steve Kennedy. And that's when he told me on the extension.
Okay. What else you got, Ben?
Next thing I have for you guys is just a discussion on what you'd like to do for warranty wishes on the current pole barn at the highway.
warranty wishes.
How would you guys, because before you wanted to extend the warranty of that
Oh,
pole barn. the one that we had the construction issues with. I don't know, because we're gonna be coming close to, getting our substantial completion done. I'm hoping to have that done by the 1st of August, August 1st, where we can take it over from their builder's risk and get our insurance on that. I've been working with our insurance company, getting that stuff squared away. Just where we can start that conversation, and then everybody's asking what it's gonna look like, what's that language gonna look like, so maybe we could get a consensus what we want and give Andrew a idea of something maybe to draft as far as how we'd like to have that look, if you wanted to extend it, or however, whatever you guys was thinking on that current structure. I know before it was mentioned to increase it because of the issues with it.
And there was two issues. One was the trusses were laid out in the rain and uneven for a while, and then we had to re-rack the building too, didn't we? Because they didn't get the roof and sides on it.
The building shifted north just over a foot.
Yeah, that's a pretty big movement.
Yes.
Now, what's your thoughts, Ben?
You know, FCI swears that they're gonna always stand behind of it. I'm sure they probably will, but unless it's on paper and agreed on, you know, you gotta have something.
What's their current warranty on all the buildings they're doing for you?
We get a 1 year everything, and then under that, it goes under manufacturer's warranty. So we get a 1 year construction warranty through FCI. So then everything else, whatever the manufacturer's warranty would be.
But if the manufacturer says, hey, those trusses were laid on the ground out and exposed, we're not warranting them.
Yeah.
Or, hey, that building shifted because you didn't build it right, they're gonna be finger pointing between the two. And so I think FCI probably needs to step up here and say, hey, this was our mistake for laying those trusses out there, letting the building rack like that, 5 years, whatever.
5
You know,
years.
I think 5 years would get us through.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
10.
You're gonna have trouble,
I'm thinking actually 10.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to go through a major snowstorm
Yeah.
with that building to know if it's going to stand
That's an
up.
expensive building. I mean, for a pole
Yeah.
building, that was a big expense.
It's a nice building. The only
Oh,
thing is the
beautiful.
trusses are compromised. They did a great job of straightening it
Good.
and bracing it. I
Good.
mean, this thing is braced to the hilt now as far as shift.
Yeah.
It's going to stay.
Are the trusses weakened when they're twisted, or?
Well, they've just been exposed to a lot of weather, a lot of rain, a lot of drying, and some of them laid on the ground, the bottom.
And these are wooden trusses?
Yes.
Trusses.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, if they're steel and coated, it wouldn't be a big deal, but
These are wooden, okay.
they also should be supported correctly when they're laying. I don't know how they're laying on the ground if they're in the mud, but usually you support them every few feet.
Yeah,
don't you?
usually you put bucking underneath them.
That's what I'm saying,
They laid
yeah.
for what, 2 or 3 months on the ground
Yeah, that's,
without any bucking underneath.
You know, the only thing that they did change, that the barn originally called for the traditional style steel, the screw-down steel. They did change that to standing seam, painted standing seam. FCI did do that when they ordered it. There was some more cost there, but they're saying FCI is not. But from what I hear, going from this traditional steel to the standing seam, the cost offlays itself because of the extra screwing and labor putting it down versus the standing seam. It's almost a wash. So, but I did want to let you know that it originally did not call for the standing seam, and we did get that. So that's,
You know, I guess it doesn't, I mean, I could go for the 5, I guess.
I think if things that happen it's gonna happen in 5 years, and Ben can keep an eye on it too, and, say, hey, what's going on
Okay.
there, you know?
I think
But-
5's a fair number.
Okay.
What's the manufacturer's warranty on it?
the only manufacturer's warranty probably mostly on the steel.
Okay, and not necessarily on the wood?
I don't know what would be on the rafters.
Okay.
Like I said, if they see rotted rafters, though, if they come inspect it, and they say, well, these are rotted out from sitting in the rain, and,
They're not, I mean, they're discolored. They've got they say it's not mold, but it's got the black on the rafters.
staining on them.
I mean, they don't look like new.
Okay.
And all the 2x4 runners and everything are all extremely faded. I mean, it's been out, that barn was built the 1st of January and just now got all covered.
Yep.
Black
I'm
stuff on the
fine
rafters,
with
they can
5
feel
years
hope.
from the legal standpoint.
Yeah, let's go with 5.
I've asked them for 5 years,
That
just
works.
all-inclusive warranty.
Probably needs a consensus, right?
Yeah.
Just, right.
Then if you want would you like Andrew to kind of draft something up
Yeah.
on that? So I think we're going to have to come up with something and propose to FCI, this is what we want.
Yeah,
This is where
5
we're
years
going.
and get their approval on it and ours, and then we can do it.
Because I imagine
officially.
they'll go along with the 5 years, but then they're going to say, what's the language look like? What does that look
Right.
like? So we need to have something
Yeah,
specified.
And is that 5 years from
C of O.
after
occupancy,
date of
yeah.
substantial completion?
I'd say,
yeah,
when we take occupancy.
Occupancy, okay, and not necessarily 5 years from their 1-year warranty. So it'd be their 1-year warranty plus 4 or plus 5?
well, let's go +5 on the 1 year. Well, no, because the warranty's not on the trusses.
No, okay,
And the warranty won't start, their warranty will not start until we move in.
C of O on that, right?
So just, yeah,
okay. So 5 years from the day we move in?
Yeah.
What I'm hearing, I think.
that'll
Okay.
work.
So basically, we're going to get 4 years out of them extra.
That's reasonable.
Yep.
I think it'll be fine. They did do a nice job straightening that. There is on the north and south ends of the barn, on the gable ends, there is a little bit of a curve in it. I mean, if you stand out there and look, you can see it. Most people's not really going to recognize it. But that barn really looks nice, the way they wrapped it and closed it, finished it.
Yeah,
It really looks nice.
I know this, it isn't going anywhere foundation-wise.
no,
I've never seen anything like that before. I think you could build this building on that foundation.
yeah, it's not going, and the bracing they put in it,
Yeah, so you're happy with the
oh,
bracing?
yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah, they run purlins on every web.
I assume they'll want to say, though, in the verbiage, obviously, acts of God. I mean, snow load's different,
Yeah.
but, you know, if a tornado comes and rips it down, that's on our insurance.
Yeah.
But,
But you get a snow load on it. We
Yeah.
get a heavy snow and a blizzard, and
yeah, it should be able to
You know.
handle a couple foot of wet snow
Yeah,
and see what happens.
Put
we
in there,
want
you
to
know,
make sure it's going to withstand that.
any droppage or bowing in the roof or
Yeah.
sag or something like that that starts, obviously there's something structural going on.
Yeah.
Structural defect is, yeah.
Yeah, and those webbing start to pop off or something. You know, they're being stressed and they're not holding.
It's probably going to be fine. It's just, it's a shame the county spent that kind of money on that. It should have been,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it should have been a lot better and completed as like a new barn would have. You know,
yes.
it's just unfortunate it happened the way it did.
And part of this, you gotta realize the construction environment we're in. Not that we're giving them a free pass, but I've been working on a project for almost 2 years now, trying to get a contractor to finish. And it just, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's for sure.
Okay, I don't think I've got anything else for you guys today. Unless you have anything else for me.
The only thing I had was that County Road 56 change order, if you want to.
Oh, thank
What's
you
your
for bringing that up. Yes, that is something else I wanted to bring up. I did call Bill last Monday, I believe it was. We had a change order come up on County Road 56 that was due to the county regulated drain that was in the road right of way. We had it budgeted to do 860 feet, and it come up, it was going to be double that, just shy of 1,600 feet. Rough estimate numbers was 125,000 to replace the additional, and then since the county drain tile is going to be underneath the new roadway, we discussed doing flowable fill, digging it up, put flowable fill, but since that is old clay tile, half full of mud and everything, being sure to get the voids filled and that we got it all, was going to be a big chance to take for being underneath the new roadway. So we presented it to the state agreed to participate in the 80% of the cost if we went through and removed the old tile underneath the roadway by excavating, packing, which I agree with,
That's the way to do it.
and then relay it on the north side. So NDOT agreed to pay with that additional cost. Our share would be 25,000. So they wanted an answer right away because, for one, we're gonna hold them up, or they's gonna pull their pipe crew off, and then they's gonna charge an extra mob and demob fee. I called Bill and ran it across him, and he agreed, and we moved with that. It did come up that it looks like the county tile is gonna be shorter than what we'd anticipated, so I don't think there's gonna be near the cost in it that we had. So that did come up, and since that happened, I wanted to make sure, see if you guys was okay, is we're probably going to experience some more change orders on this. I'm not for sure how much. I'm hoping little. I'm kind of suspecting one to be coming from the soil stabilization. I think it's going to require some cement to be put down instead of lime in some areas, just from what the talk is going. That will be a change order. If NDOT agrees to contribute in them change orders, they're going to contribute 80% of the cost. We'll have to pay the 20%. If them come up, are you guys okay with me proceeding on them change orders if they're needed? Or do you want, because if we put the project off, we could have delays and costs, and they've only got a 120-day closure. I feel it'd be good if you guys would allow me to go ahead and proceed if NDOT contributes, if it's warranted. If NDOT does not, if the cost is all on us, then I want to bring it to you guys.
Makes sense to me.
Well, I mean, that still could be what, several $1,000s that you're just kind of appropriating on your own. I have a little concern with that. I don't know what Susan thinks. But
Well, we could set a
Well-
dollar limit to it.
if you set a
Yeah.
dollar limit to it, I'd feel more comfortable.
Yeah, I think an open checkbook, you can't do that. I mean.
And I trust Ben,
Yeah,
but it's
but-
gonna, but
I
we want
understand
it
what you're saying. I
to
just-
be
I
more
don't-
than just trusting one person.
I hate to have us get in that position where they're going to come
What kind
back.
of dollar limit though would, in your mind? I mean, 50 grand, 100 grand? I mean, this was 25,000, this change order that you're talking about. Would another 50 of contingency be? Because I see what I see what Andrew's saying, hey, it's kind of like an open line of credit with no
Right.
cap,
Yeah,
you know?
do
Which
that.
is not a good policy, even though we do have a trustworthy person in the position.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to, because I mean, NDOT, if they're contributing, I mean, we need to continue with our project, and if they're going to contribute, our costs are going to be minimal. Whatever you guys think, however you want me to do it.
So these also could be things that I pay in the ARPA
Yeah,
plan
yeah,
if the council approves it as things move on.
yeah. I have no problem. I mean, I think we should set a limit though of maybe 50 grand
50, yeah.
of, and then if you say, hey, Todd, you know, or Bill, or Mike, it's definitely gonna be over that, you know, then we can act on it.
Would
But
that be something I could call one of you? Because they, on that construction, if we got a whole, like, say if it happened tomorrow, they're not going to want to wait 2 weeks till we have a
Right.
meeting again.
I mean, we're talking about an $8 million project here, right?
Shy of it,
We don't
yeah.
wanna
Yeah.
screw it up because we're gonna argue over $10,000 or something, you know?
right.
So, yeah, I think we ought to allow Ben $50,000 worth of latitude for any change orders. And if you see it being more than that, get with us right away.
And if I think it's something unnecessary, I'll definitely let you guys know. I wouldn't approve it anyway. But
Right, right,
I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and can keep progressing forward.
yeah.
Need a motion on that, probably?
That's $50,000 county cost.
County cost, yes. I'd
County
make a
cost.
motion that we give
Change
Ben
order.
latitude of $50,000 of county expenditure to match the state for County Road 56 on change orders.
I will second.
A motion and second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
Okay. Hopefully, we don't hardly have any, but
Yeah.
it's a big enough project, something's going to happen.
And if we get delayed on it, that
That adds-
50,000 could turn into 500,000 like that,
Yeah,
so.
that's
If
the
we
thing.
caused the delay, yes,
Yeah.
it could. Yeah, they'll start hitting us liquidated damages and things.
Yeah,
We don't want that.
we don't need that.
Anything else? All I got.
Thank you for bringing that up. I meant to write that on my note, and
Oh, I had it on mine, so
I'm glad you did. Thank you.
you bet. Okay, Ben, have a good
Ben?
day, good week.
Okay, you guys too, if you need anything, let me know.
Good luck with your projects. And
I hope we're getting fired up and things are moving.
It's awesome.
Yep.
Everything's
Get
starting,
moving
chip
and-
seal's getting ready to start, and I'm hoping, we'll be moving here soon.
Yeah.
Things are on schedule, well, they're not on schedule, but things are moving at the highway
Right.
rebuild.
Ben and I, we talked about an open house and maybe after they move, but before they get too much into it. But it'd be nice to have some of the equipment in there and the shop set up, their toolboxes, and so right after you move, maybe when you get a date where we can do that, and we'll set up an open house
Yeah, that'd be nice.
shortly after. Have some trucks in the garages, and
We ought to do 2 open houses, the old facility and the new one.
Yeah. I am working on getting quotes for the sign out front right now.
oh,
I've been working with a guy on 2 different signs, a stationary sign and then the LED display sign. I don't know what the costs are gonna be, but we got our logo put on it at the top of the LED sign with the LED at the bottom. And then on the stationary sign, we did steel siding at the bottom that matches the barn. And at the top, DeKalb County Highway with our logo lit up on that. So them's the 2 options that we come up with. And he's working on cost estimates, so I will send them to you guys
when you get
as
those.
soon as we get it. I'd like, if there's much left, we can get that in on Greg possibly too.
Only caution I do on signs is make sure if you're gonna light something up with LED, you talking LED lights or LED displays?
LED, like wording.
Yeah, just make sure it's high quality. I watched out at the cruise auction, they put up that fancy sign and it, back in the day when Dino, and that thing lasted about 6 months and then it never worked right after that. And I've seen other people do that. They buy a sign with those displays and no one services them. So just make sure you get a reputable company that,
Go to the
think
fire department, their sign has problems.
yeah, it's just something to think about.
I think it would be really nice to have, but I don't know the cost if it would be.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see what
see what
the
the
money
cost is
is.
first. It's-
And is that coming out of the overall price of the building? The sign, I would think, might be part of the cost of the building.
That's,
It's part
I'm
of
hoping,
contingency, isn't it? Or-
Yeah.
I'm hoping to include it
Okay.
into that.
So it's already been appropriated and all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to have you guys look at it and see,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we'll decide and
Sure.
see what it comes in. I may even reach out to somebody else. Cost, so. Okay, well, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Ben.
Ben.
Have a great day.
You too.
I heard back from Cheryl Lynch on that Vantage. She said they manage all the grant deliverables, attend the preparedness meetings, update MOUs, update our plans, attend preparedness exercises, update our staff on current preparedness issues, etc. And I asked if that was something that could be done in-house, and she said, no, it has grown through the years and is a significant amount of work.
Well, I
So it sounds like a lot of the grant reporting that she would have to do for that part.
think Cheryl, if she thinks it's necessary, I put a lot of faith in her. She's
Okay.
pretty good in that department. So, do we want to approve that then? Get it off their,
You can? Make that motion?
we can, I know Jason needs to get up here with similar requests, so, yeah, I'd make a motion that we approve, I believe it was VPC?
Vantage Point Consulting.
Yeah, it's 25,000, right? 2,083 a month or something like that. I'd make a motion that we approve that contract.
I will second.
Okay, motion and second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye?
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. Cleans that up. Okay, Jason, you are up. Come grab a seat and flip on a mic and
Back to my file.
All right, so we have an opportunity to update our multi-hazard mitigation plan for the county. It's something that we have to do recommended that we do every 5 years. So we had applied for the grant in 2022 to do our 5-year update, and we were notified recently that we did get that money. We will get $20,304 that we need to upfront cost, but we'll get all that reimbursed. The only thing we need to do as a county is we need to track everybody's hours and mileage that goes into the project, and that will be considered our in-kind contribution. So the $6,768.60 will be our portion, but we can use that through in-kind contributions, no financial expenses there.
So the 20,304 comes from the grant then?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
And then they'll bill us, and then I'd already talked to Susan virtually about that upfront piece and getting that money appropriated. So we pay it out and then have to send in a draw request to the state, and then they send us the money back. A multi-hazard mitigation plan, just a quick description of that. Serves as a guide for the county's assessment of hazards, vulnerabilities, and risk, and actively incorporates the participation of a wide range of stakeholders and the public in the planning process. This plan aids the county, cities, and towns in preventing, protecting against, responding to, and recovering from disasters that may threaten the community's economic, social, and environmental well-being. This plan documents historic disasters, assesses probabilistic disasters, and addresses specific strategies to mitigate the potential impacts of these disasters. FEMA requires counties to have a multi-hazard mitigation plan in order to be eligible for hazard mitigation grant programs, funds that jurisdictions may want to apply for. All jurisdictions must have in place a multi-hazard mitigation plan and update the plan within a 5-year time span. This plan update will remain in effect for 5 years from the date of community adoption. And our last plan is 2020. So 2025, and that's why we're doing this now. When we do get the plan completed, we have to do a resolution for the county and all the cities and towns in order to adopt that new plan. So I have a contract through Christopher B. Burke Engineering. And if you approve of this, then I just need Commissioner Hartman's signature, his printed name, title, and the date.
And that was the schedule here of the hours they'd put in, that was in your attachment and everything?
That's if we do additional.
Oh, okay.
But they put in their.
Oh, okay, that's their fee.
Yeah, right here under fee.
Yeah, the 20,304.
Yeah, which matches where.
Which is the grant is.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'd make a motion to approve the contract with CBB Engineering, using the grant fund and our in-kind of mileage and time tracking for them. That's our in-kind contribution, right?
Yep.
Be my motion.
I will second that rather long.
You don't have to type all that, Susan.
All right, we have motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
Absolutely. Yeah,
We'll scan it.
okay. Thank you.
It'll be either later today or
That's fine. And then once I get it, I'll send it to Manuel. And
Good.
anything else for me? I'm gonna be sticking around for Rod's part, but anything else?
I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you for working on that.
Thank you.
Chris. Well, we're ready for Siler. I don't know who else here. Thank you.
You're up. Proceed anytime you're ready. Get your name and address. You can do it after.
Morning. No, we should be good.
Is your blue light on? Push the gray button.
Oh, yeah, okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Scott Seiler, representing several families that are in the area of the SCAFO going in. And we appreciate the board last time, but we were very short on getting things put together. And we just wanted to come back to the board again to present some other issues and things that we've found out since then. If we could, we have a little page here to follow along with, kind of update the board here also, the commissioners, on what's going on. The site drainage, the SWP3 plan is in progress now with Cameron. This should have been in place to begin with before the project was let. So they are working on that best we can see. Right now, there's not much action going on with it. Anyway, Maxwell Engineering drawings only show the north half of the property, not indicating the overall site elevations of water flow. Also, it had indicated the wrong township. When you look at this, you can see that the drainage, I mean, it's pretty clear where the drainage is going on this. When we have met with the drainage board about this also, and it's pretty clear on that. The Maxwell Engineering drawings was not given to the SWCD surveyor's office. The surveyor's office had it, but the SWCD did not have that information. They only had the information of just a little tiny half plot of the property, and that's what they went off of, and that's why they determined that they had, well, they're way less than 1 acre. Well, they're way more than 1 acre, as it turns out. So Cameron has been out there with IDEM trying to get them to get this SWP3 plan in place. And let's see, after the completion of this plan, the agricultural field will not have a perennial coverage, and therefore we're still going to have runoff concerns about this property. This is, you look at page 3, kind of shows a little bit. It's a small map, but you can see the elevations on it, how the property changes and where it's draining to the creek. You have doubt on it. The queries have been sent to IDEM and Cameron about this operation meeting the criteria of what they call a medium-sized CAFO, which it does according to the information they've given us, the owners put forth in the permit, with an exterior, uncovered, open, not contained mortuary waste holding area. Partially outside.
And what will be done with that area? What will that be used for?
Supposedly that's the holding for the dead animals
Okay.
and the waste product.
Okay.
Now, how long it's held, I don't know. Again, there's no plan for the operation. These are just the concerns we have that you cannot stop the runoff if they just shovel it out there and it gets loaded in the truck right away and all cleaned up, we're going to have very little runoff. But to say that there's not going to be any runoff if they're storing stuff out there over time, there is going to be runoff if they're storing stuff out there over time. So we're working with IDEM to try to get that, depending on what plans they come up with, to try to get something here to retain, to slow down this water runoff. And that might be a detention basin or something. The Herbrucks, the next item down here, I'm sorry, this is on page 2. Herbrucks Poultry is who they're working with. And they've had a recent outbreak of the avian influenza in Iona County, Michigan. That's where the Herbrucks is kind of based out of. So a question we have is there are plans with the state, but when we have a flu outbreak here with this, what are they going to do? What's their plan to take care of the birds? Because it's 27,000, it's not 20, it's a lot. And what about the neighboring flocks? We got a lot of neighbors that have chickens. One of the neighbors has 40. I think they're one of the biggest around our neighborhood. And then there's several others. Everybody's got some. We're just worried about what's going on there. And the fact that avian flu can be hazardous, especially to those that have respiratory conditions. Point the case in point right here, Grandma. Okay, so she has problems at times during the year, and she has to kind of stay inside her house. So. The water well baseline testing is a request of the Board of Health meeting in 7/24, and the Board of Health is all for it, but they said it would depend on Commissioner, how much they have funding-wise to be able to do this, to get baseline testing of the homes around the area within a certain distance of that. The State Board of Health has recommendations on what that distance should be. The other issue, the generator for this building will need to meet EPA requirements. We don't know anything about it. We do know that they're building a generator building on here. That's not shown on the site. Ad right now. And so anyway, there's EPA requirements with that, because this will have to run about 24/7 at certain times of the year, especially to keep the fans going and stuff to keep the chickens from melting down. The last point is this project does not bring a tangible benefit to DeKalb County. It's kind of ducking under a lot of requirements that a commercial, business operation would. If it wasn't in such a highly erodible area where it was placed, a lot of our concerns wouldn't be here. To tell you the honest truth, okay? We see the train wreck coming. We're trying to make everybody know about it, and we're trying to get IDEM to come in and help them with some plans to mitigate this, and also their other issues. If I could, if there's time allows, please, if we could turn to page 5, the ones that got some color coding stuff on here. This is our UDO. This is excerpts from our UDO for DeKalb County. And I just want to go back and read some things here on C from the first section. This is all about accessory buildings and structures. Accessory structures shall be related to the primary use of the land. This does not fall under that requirement. Accessory structures are permitted, but not prior to the erection of the principal building. There is no principal building here. And then the lower part on the environmental standards of our UDO, it talked about unsuitable land qualities. And number 2 is highly susceptible to erosion. And then item D, we're talking about the water and soil pollution prevention. And that's where we're really after this. We want to see some things put in place to keep this under control. I just wanted to encourage the commissioners and the board and the enforcement officers of our UDO. The enforcement official, can look this over. It says right here they have the authority to do this. They have the authority to help them to get some plans for compliance of this project. And then it goes on to list, this is on page 7, of all the different ways they can stop work orders, everything else. I don't mean to insult anybody by reading this. I just want to make sure that this is known, that even according to our UDO and everything they say they're going to abide by when they pull their permit, this is all in there. And we have the enforcement authority to help get them on the right track. I appreciate your time and attention. If you have any questions for me, I'm willing for that. And I just want to make one more plug again. I know in January we're going to be starting the, kind of looking at our UDO and looking at development plans for our county. And I would really like people to, anybody wants a copy of this land use plan from, kind of give some good model ordinance, some good guidance for where these can go and not good locations for them to go. Anybody wants copies. I'm promoting these. I'm burning up the copy machine, just trying to make sure everybody's got a copy of that. So if anybody wants one, please let me know.
2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago when you were in here? I think you were just here 2 weeks ago, right?
Right.
At that time, they had suggested contacting the state representatives. Was anybody able to reach any of them? And
Yeah, Schmaltz office has come out with IDEM. Johnson, Senator Johnson's been contacted, and his office said they're looking into this, and also Representative, I've lost the name right now, our other representative for this area. Anyway, they've all been notified multiple times by many individuals. But a lot of it, we're getting back from them letters, I didn't include any here, is that get with your commissioners. Get with your zoning enforcement officer. They should be handling this. People should have been notified about the project before it began. They should have an SWP3 in place. This is way too big to not have that in place. That's what we're kind of, some of the feedback we're getting, other than we're looking into this project, so.
Can you forward me those letters?
Yes, I could. And that just, I think Beth has your
Yes,
contact,
she does.
correct? Okay.
How do you handle, you mentioned the avian influenza, and I know it'd be less likely with small flocks, but say someone that has 50 birds, what is your plan if your birds would get infected with avian flu?
Well, we have to kill them, is our understanding. It's just, what do you do with them after you kill them?
Well, that's what I'm saying, what would you do with them?
Well, we just have to kill ours. I'm thankful we only got like 12, and that's
But
all I
what would
can
you
keep
do
up
with
with.
the corpses then? I mean, that's there's still the disease there. Do you have to incinerate them? Do you bury them?
So there is instructions on that. I didn't pass that out to anybody. From Indiana General Assembly, from the Indiana State Board of Health has instructions, different ways of handling the situation. Recommendations, mind you.
So someone would have to follow those?
Yes.
Okay.
So the State Board of Health, when there is an issue, would then step in and say, hey, you've got to kill these and dispose of them properly here to, like you said, destroy the virus. So there are concerns of that. A lot of it's like burial and incineration type things, so.
Then on the EPA, I mean, unfortunately, we don't enforce EPA law. It's kind of like let's say you have a diesel truck and remove your catalytic converter. I can't step in as the county and that I would call someone from the state or the federal government,
Yeah.
And turn you in, but I can't go out there and say, hey, your generator doesn't meet EPA standards. I don't have the authority to do that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Todd, I totally understand the board doesn't have any authority over that at all. I just wanted to bring it to mind of
Yeah.
everybody for these particular operations
Sure.
by a certain community. This is how they operate. I've been to a lot of inspections on facilities here. They get Mr. Wrench from Napa Knee to put together a generator that meets no emission standards whatsoever, and the generator's running all the time. And it's like, so it's just kind of the bypassing of rules again and again, we all want to breathe, and the things have come a long way since I was a kid, I'll admit that,
Out there.
we used to do a lot of things that make no sense now at all because we've learned some things, okay? I'm just trying to move us forward in the right direction. I mean, I love this county. I don't want anybody to misunderstand that. That's why we live here, so.
Oh, that's good. I just want to let you know it's one thing that'd have to be enforced by the federal government or the state authorities that inspect that.
Yeah, and if we find anything that we see them bringing an old clunky generator in or something, we'll try to report through the EPA, and try to get them just to clean up their act is what it amounts to.
I agree with
so.
that. Yeah. Okay.
Anything else? Mr. Seiler? Of Mr., step to the podium. State your name.
Jeff Moore. I farmed in that area my whole life. We got a Century Farm out there, and the runoff he's talking about is called the Levi Rowland Ditch, and it's probably maybe an eighth of a mile away. And I've been around chicken farms when I was a kid, and it's going to be nasty. My main question is, I just recently sold my house to my daughter and son-in-law, and I want to put a mobile home on it because my wife is disabled. I have to go through a whole rigmarole of sending letters to the newspaper, get a special exemption to put my mobile home in, contact the neighbors, and these people did this for nothing. They did none of this, and I'm wondering why just putting a simple mobile home on property that my grandpa bought the year I was born, and that's how I made money as a kid farming. I got to go through all that. And I ain't mad at you all that. I'm just When this all come up, I'm going, hey, they're giving me all this just to put a mobile home so my wife can be taken care of when I'm not home. And these guys are building a chicken farm.
I think the reason for that is the way the agricultural code is written is it's for agricultural use. So if you want to put more living residences, you'd have to get a special exemption for that. Because what they don't want to do is people make their own housing communities out there.
I understand
So
that.
that's the reason
That
for it,
happened right behind me.
Yeah,
And
yeah, so, yeah, but I get your frustration, but
it
yeah.
really
it's-
got to me that, and I don't know why there's such a, I don't see why you can't have. I just want to let y'all know that.
Sure, I get it.
And I don't like the chicken farm thing either, so.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Anything else? I got a question for Chris. Yeah, would you come up, Chris?
Hello again.
Hello again. Yes, sir.
Relationship to primary structure. Accessory structures are permitted but not prior to erection of principal building.
So it's not considered an accessory structure. It's again, it goes back to how our building code is written and how permits are entered in our software. We don't have anything for this in our software. So the office staff just put it in there as an accessory residential structure. They are going to build a house, but it's permitted as it's meeting primary structure setbacks. It's all of that. It's just how that is categorized in our system, and we don't have we don't have anything else to put it under because we didn't have it in our code.
Yeah.
So that's that whole reason for that.
So is the question on that, is this an accessory structure to a house, or is this a primary agricultural building, and we just don't have that language in the computer?
Right. Yeah.
To call it a primary structure?
Right.
And is it, but if it, okay.
I'm sure we have situations where there's a farmer has a house, it's on one parcel. He wants to build a barn on another parcel.
We do it as an
There's no
accessory.
primary structure on another parcel, but he's allowed to build that barn.
Right, because we do have in our ordinance, in that A2 district and A1 district, we have, for that particular situation, for the one you're talking about with wanting to build an accessory structure for storage, we have accessory structures storage as a permitted use.
But for different parcels,
And they have to meet the primary setbacks for those accessory barns on those separate parcels.
on the separate
Correct.
parcel, right.
Correct.
So are you saying that the chicken barn was a primary structure, not an accessory structure?
Right.
Under our UDO? Is that kind of
Well,
what you're saying?
in the UDO, we don't have anything for what's under items, considerations of a confined feed operation, right? So the only thing that we can really categorize it as, which agree or disagree, it is what it is, and at this point in time, is I think the raising of farm animals or something. It's nothing, we don't have anything for what it's under that 30,000 number or under the 300 number if you're doing cows or whatever the other numbers are.
that was my only question and thought that it's not really an accessory.
Yeah, and hopefully, and with the changes that we made today with our building code and building fees, this would change that. So Charity over the course of the next week will be inputting those into SmartGov. It's not as easy as just making some Word document changes, but she's going to be doing that and it'll get changed for the future.
Yeah. Okay, so I had. Anybody else? Thanks, Chris.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks for coming up.
Yep, no problem.
Anything else on that subject? Then we can move on to, we are right on schedule. Mr. Rickenberger, you are up.
Thank you for the opportunity to come before you today. Back in 2000, there was an in 1999, 2000, there was a lot of flooding in the Holiday Lakes subdivision area. And the Maumee River Basin Commission had written a grant to acquire the first 3 properties out there. We funded the 25% local match. The FEMA grant was awarded, and we acquired those and demolished the first 3. Then in, I think it was in 2007 in January or 2008 January, flooding was really bad again, and this time we had 6 additional homes that were substantially damaged, meaning that the damage exceeded 50% of the fair market value. Again, we wrote a grant. I worked with the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners at that time, and the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners ended up putting up $134,745 towards that project. We got that approved, ended up buying those 6 additional homes. So we've acquired 9 total homes out there to the tune of $914,000 some odd dollars. In coming up here pretty frequently, because Commissioner Watson is the Maumee River Basin Commission Board Treasurer, we're exchanging documents quite frequently. And I was talking with Carla Weinbrenner, and she said, hey, those Holiday Lakes lots are going up for tax sale. And I said, okay, now's the time we need to act, because there are 2 vacant lots. They're right between 2 of the parcels that we acquired as part of the grant project. Mm-hmm. We couldn't buy vacant land with FEMA grant money because FEMA's view, you're not mitigating anything unless you're acquiring and demolishing a structure. So the fear is that somebody could end up buying these lots, try to build on them, and if they push the envelope, they probably could find a way to do that. And
Are they buildable? I mean, are they above floodplain and?
no, they are not. But unfortunately, the National Flood Insurance Program, instead of telling you how not to stay out of there, it's enabling. So it tells you, well, here's what you can do to build. And that's hard to stop. And that's why the parcels that we acquired have a federal deed restriction in perpetuity. So those can never be built on again. And I made a phone call to Jason because, his department has to respond out there every time. And in 2008, I know I was out there at midnight, and there's nothing you can do when the floodwaters are coming up. And so in our view, we've mitigated that area. So the last thing we want to have happen is somebody come and acquire those 2 lots and try to build on them. And if they meet the NFIP requirements, it would be very difficult to stop them. So we would like to work with you, the Board of Commissioners, to find a way if we can get those in the county's name, even if I can't speak for the Maumee River Basin Board, but I would certainly be willing to go back to the Maumee River Basin Board and recommend that if there's any outstanding taxes that need to be paid, that we pay them so we can get the properties transferred into DeKalb County's name.
Fortunately, that's not how that sale works, though. I mean, if it goes to tax sale, it has to go open bid. And I know your fear is someone will build, but man, that would we'd be subverting the law if we said, hey, you just pay the taxes and take it over. I think it has to go to sale.
Well, I don't think that's what he's saying. He's wanting to get it into the county name.
That's what I'm saying, but for us to put it in the county name, it still has to go through the tax sale process.
It's already been through the tax sale.
Oh, it's been
multiple
through
times.
and no one bid on it?
It's been through multiple times, except for one.
Okay, that changes
There's
things a little.
2 that are on tax sale that have been through multiple times. And generally, the county doesn't take it to deed because of the liability, which.
But there's no structure here and no
So,
pollution.
right. So 2 of them, if we want to do the noticing and the 120-day redemption and yada, 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 that would be something that you guys could get into your name. The third one is owned by Tony Frost, and he pays his taxes, so that's never going to go to tax sale. So that one is really out of our hands. But the two that are going have already been
Okay.
multiple times.
I wouldn't have so this would be, this would connect all of them together, right? They're contiguous together.
It will, with the exception of the Tony
Frost.
Frost.
Okay.
Did anyone share the map that I emailed?
I did,
I saw the map, yeah.
I saw the map.
I've got a couple.
Yeah, if you got a full, my eyes work better on a big print, so, thank you.
I got the email, I did see it, yes.
Oh, I see, yeah. And Mr. Frost is the
His
orange circle?
The orange
Yes,
circle.
orange circle.
And the red two are, and you own the ones with the stars?
The county does.
That's what I'm saying, the county owns those?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you know, that kind of makes sense to me. If it's been through tax sale and it helps, I wouldn't have a problem pushing for to get it in the county's name.
I agree, I agree.
Because I'd hate to have someone build there in the middle around a flood, because then you're just going to be ripping them down later.
Yeah.
And I thought they hadn't been through tax sale yet, and I didn't want to.
Yeah, and if there's a way, and again, I don't want to overstep our bounds, if we can coordinate an effort to try to get the lot that Mr. Frost owns, that way the entire area
Got
would
it
be
all.
locked down and we wouldn't have to respond to that area again.
Yeah.
Is your biggest goal with his lot that he would put on some sort of a no-build restriction on it, or are you trying to get it owned by the county?
Well, the preference would be if we could get it owned by the county. Now, if there was a way that we could accommodate the same goal by leaving it titled into his name and.
But where he would agree not to build on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We would be accomplishing the same objective.
But he's not going to do that. I mean, who wants to pay taxes on a property and be restricted? So, you know what I'm saying? It'd be best if the county could acquire it, of course, but
Yeah.
Mr. Frost has any negotiation skills, he isn't going to let it go cheap, you know, so.
Do we know a approximate value of that lot? How big is that lot for one thing, and what might be the value?
The one that Tony owns,
Yes,
I think it's roughly a quarter of an acre plus or minus.
Is it above floodplain, his?
No.
No?
No,
So these
they're-
are all in floodplain?
They're all in the floodplain.
You know, and I know what you're talking about because I've dealt with FEMA and the insurance companies a lot. And if they don't meet a standard, that you just can't get flood insurance.
Yeah.
So that you have to build them up basically on stilts or something like that, which that's very expensive. I doubt if that'll ever happen, but I understand you have this whole area now controlled. And-
Well, Nick, I tried getting a letter from Indiana Department of Homeland Security because one of my fears has been, being that this is a FEMA acquisition area, if a building permit were issued by the county, would the county be culpable to pay all the federal money back? And that's why as soon as I heard that these were up for tax sale, I wanted to try to nix that and seize the opportunity if we can. Not saying that the county would have to pay it back, but in FEMA's eyes, it may be looked at as a snub because that was identified as a project area.
I would be for getting these two put that we can, that have already been through
yeah,
tax sale.
definitely.
And then maybe we could have a conversation with Mr. Frost about what his intentions are with the property. Maybe we could work out a deal and just secure that whole area.
Yeah.
But for now, I think we need to act on these two and get them in our name.
We can purchase that property.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. If he'd throw a
if we
price out
had
that's reasonable.
That
and-
desire, if the price was,
Yeah, it'd have to be market value, which market value in floodplain is different than market
is-
value.
right,
in-
right.
Yeah, it's rather low.
But, you know, then again,
Let's have a conversation with him and,
I think we need to have but why don't we act on these two and get them put in our name?
Yeah.
Have Susan start that process.
yeah, let's do that.
So I'd make a motion that we proceed to take action to take title for lots, is it 24 and 25
Yes, it is.
in the Holiday Lake subdivision area? That's my motion.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose, same, motion carries.
Andrew, you got a look on your face. Is that okay?
Well, well, no, I was just gonna say, is that, I don't think we've ever done that before, is that, do you do that through your office, or is that something that I do, like I did for the town of St. Joe when you deeded the properties over?
I would prefer.
I can help if you
that
need me to help,
can
I can.
The
Yeah.
last one I did, I basically had to do it on my own. I
Yeah.
didn't get any help, and that was rough.
Okay, we can help with that. Yep,
Okay, thank
that's
you.
what I was thinking.
Okay, I could see the wheels
Yes,
spinning and.
wheels were spinning there, yes.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
we'll
you.
talk to
Just
Mr.
a
Frost,
last
too.
comment, if you do decide to approach the other property owner, again, I think I could convince the Maumee River Basin Board to cost share with you folks on that.
Okay,
okay,
that would help. Appreciate that.
yeah.
It makes sense, so I see what you're saying. I appreciate this overhead
Yeah,
view.
because I don't think Jason wants to run out there for one home.
Yeah,
All right,
All right, thank you very much.
bring a match in the fire trucks and we'll take care
yeah,
of it.
thank you, Rob. Do you have a contact on him, Mr. Frost?
I'll have to look.
Give me one. Yeah, send it to me and I'll get a hold of him. Okay, that kind of winds us down as far as the meeting agenda. Anything else from anyone?
The one thing that I have, and I'm not sure if Andrew had time or not, did we ever find out if we can assign the Butler City certificate with
Let me look at what my research was on that. Like I think we can do an interlocal was the idea that I had there, but let me look at the research I did on that. Okay, what do I have here? I have so I think we can do, when we assign the certificate for sale to the political subdivision, we can do a contract of sorts for what we would want in return. I think that would be allowed. I didn't see anything in my research that would stop that. So if you wanted to craft something with Butler, I think most of the time, well, the prior times that I've seen the tax certificates given, it's usually been to like tear down the buildings as an, they were a dangerous, hazardous issue. And I think Waterloo had some grant funds they got to tear some down, maybe St. Joe. In this situation, they're actually going to be able to put them back into the tax rolls, which is good.
Yeah.
But I can see why if you want to work out a deal with Butler on that, I did not see anything that would prevent it in my research.
Okay,
So do you guys want to make a motion to reassign the certificate with whatever, or do you want to think about what you're,
Talking about Butler again? Thoughts, guys?
I think we get it back on the tax roll.
Where I was leaning.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, there's no point.
without any money?
Yeah, I mean, because, like I said, they're building on the lots, improving it, increasing the tax revenues, making it useful.
Yeah,
They've been maintaining the properties anyway, mowing the lawns and.
Well, the neighbors, the
So
guy
it's-
that wants it.
Right. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
there was the question about the money, whether they would split some of that with us when he
That's-
pays the back taxes.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, no, I thought that was part of because since they already offered that, they said they would, we need to negotiate what that would be, though,
You'd have to
right?
negotiate what that would be
Yeah.
and
Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
need to go to the negotiation process is what I'm saying. What I meant,
Yeah.
we don't have to go through a separate sale again is what I'm saying. We can just negotiate it out,
Right,
correct?
so are you going to make a motion to reassign just the certificate with some negotiable
Yes.
whatever? Or are you gonna make it, once you know what that is?
I think we need to negotiate, I think we need to reach out and negotiate first Is that, so we need a motion for that? Just,
No,
I
that's,
think we-
that's what I needed to know.
yeah, yeah.
So it's now in your guys' court.
So I will call Mike Hartman and talk to him directly.
Okay.
Just say, what do you think? And what's a fair,
I think that's a good step.
and then let's start the process that way.
That sounds good.
I'll call him today.
And
And which
And
lot
let me
was that?
know.
Do you have the parcel number? Or,
I'll get it.
or an address?
I'll get it to you.
Yeah, just text or email it to me if you would. Thank you, appreciate it.
anything else?
Thing I got on the van for weights and measures, the running board I ordered, said
Oh.
it came with the brackets. It didn't come with the brackets. And so I can't source the brackets, so
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna send it back. The other work I did, I'm just gonna do it for free, the other stuff we did. And then I told him just to find a running board somewhere and, you know, tell us what the cost's gonna be, of course. But, so I apologize, but didn't cost the county anything, so.
Okay. Anything else? 'Cause I do have something.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I do have something.
Uh-oh, you got prints too.
I got pictures.
Uh-oh. Hey, I've seen that building before.
Have you seen that?
Uh-huh.
You like that? Okay,
There's a bunch of X's on trees.
let's position this thing. 9th Street at the bottom, 7th Street at the top.
Okay?
We had a wind event. The two trees on the bottom right side
Okay?
that have the X's on them. They had considerable damage, big limbs went off. That one tree, it hangs out over the street, it's all out of balance now. If it goes down, it's gonna go way out into the street. The other tree is, it's also damaged, it needs to come down.
Okay?
We have another tree. Let me see, I'm upside down. I'm telling you how to do it, and I got mine upside down.
Well, you said 7th Street at the top, right?
we go. Yeah, there we go.
So it needs to be like this.
Yeah, I'm trying to go
Long
sideways.
ways.
Okay, so there's three trees. The one clear to the right, this is on the southeast corner.
Yep.
One clear to the right, it's damaged, it's all lopsided,
That's the northeast corner, isn't it?
southwest, southeast.
Oh, now I got it
Southeast
upside
corner.
down.
Yeah,
Never
southeast
mind.
Oh, my goodness, you
Got
guys. You want me to just hold it up?
Hey, I never went to college. You're gonna have to give me a pass here. All right.
Okay, the one in the middle is a small tree, it's too close to sidewalk.
Okay.
We proposed, Larry and I walked all this and checked this all out. Just trying to get some opinions now and thoughts on it. The X to the left, where the branches come out actually over the cars,
Okay.
that tree has lost a huge limb. It's all offset towards the street. If that one goes down, it's gonna go clear across 9th Street.
Right.
So we're proposing taking those three out, and then I have the circles of the green circles.
Yeah.
I would be replacing those trees,
Replacing them?
replacing them, setting them back more towards the middle of that
Oh, okay.
grassway. I got another over by the courthouse is an XL. That's a limb coming off a large tree.
Okay.
That limb needs to be trimmed. If it goes down, it's probably gonna take out one of those light posts.
Oh,
So these trees are old. This one is really old. It's really in pretty good shape, except that limb is a parallel to that light post. Okay, we come on around to the northwest corner. We have a tree there with an X on it. That tree is pretty much dead.
okay.
That's out here. The other X is a pine tree it's at the end of its life cycle.
Is it a white pine?
Yeah, that pine is, the top is actually dead. It's all, the branches have thinned out, the needles are, probably really needs to come out.
root decline disease, probably.
Idea is to replace those then with the circle, the green circle on the left,
Okay.
and then the green circle on the right in those positions. And come around to the northeast corner, and we have 2 trees there we think should come out. We get there again, they are old, they're showing signs of deterioration. Limbs could go down, and one limb could actually get into the courthouse if it comes off of there. The problem is the age and the condition of those trees and the limbs, and the liability that we are stuck with if something happens, that we can have no control over. And that's the bad news. There's 7 of them that we think should come out. The good news is we replace those 7 with 5. I've got a individual who will donate the trees.
Wow.
15-foot tall, probably 3-inch trunks.
Wow. That's a good-sized tree.
And the tree we looked at, I've looked at them primarily are,
As long as it's not a walnut tree.
scarlet oak.
Or Bartlett pears.
It has walnut too. These are called scarlet oak.
Okay.
They're a nice tree. I have some photos I can share with you at some point on the phone.
Okay.
Anyway, Larry's going to get estimates on removing those 7 trees. And I want to give you guys a heads up, what we're thinking about, what we're looking at. Go take a look at them. And we're not arborists, but I've been around trees all my life. Cut a lot of trees. And it's just, when you see the condition of them, I think
Yeah.
they need to be replaced.
I saw the,
I saw those, we were out there that
yeah.
day after the storm.
So that's just-
They definitely need to have attention.
Well, and I think it's important too, if you remember Todd, I can't remember his last name, but he was a UPS driver here in Auburn, got killed by a tree
that
falling
one.
on him. He was just driving his route, the limb came and went through.
And we have some other problems. I mean, there's this one tree over here on the southwest corner hangs way out over the street.
It's dangerous.
And I don't know the rhyme or reason when they planted these trees, why they put them so close to the curbs, unless they wanted to shade the horses at the,
They didn't think about liability back then.
but yeah, there's liability there. And at some point, we may have to take some more out, but this is what we're looking at. These are the most damaged, most age-related, deteriorated, and
I think it's a good idea.
I think so. Larry's getting an estimate put together. Larry's getting an estimate.
he's
put
going to get an
together
estimate for
to
removal.
Take those out
And then we'll go
and plant
from,
the other ones. And to plant the new ones.
And to plant the new ones too?
no, that's going to be donated.
The planting of them too?
Yeah.
They'll actually plant them too? The labor to plant them?
I'll get some volunteers to
Okay.
plant them. If I have to dig the
I'll
holes
bring the
myself,
shovel.
if I have to dig the holes myself, I'll dig them.
I'll do the first inch. You do the rest.
I'll do this.
I'll do the grass.
I want the silver shovel, you know.
Yeah, you'll get the rusty shovel.
Bring an
No, I'll-
excavator if I have to, but yeah.
I can dig the holes.
Okay.
And, but he'll spade them out, they'll bag them, we'll have to haul them. Larry we got that trailer we can haul them
Yeah.
on. And I'll dig them in, and then we get the volunteers to just pack them in, stake them, and brace them so they don't, blow over. But that's what I,
We'll make sure we get a good locate done when we
yeah.
Yes.
rip out the old and put in the new, so we don't
Yeah.
rip up a fiber or something.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure we're
Gas
not-
line or- Yeah,
Not into anything, and we'll have everything marked, of course.
yeah.
It's all set.
I like that idea, Bill.
I think
Is there any,
it's wise.
is there any Auburn ordinance on, since we're a tree city, something about yank a tree, put a tree in? Like, do we have to put 7 trees in if we cut down 5? Okay,
That I know of.
okay.
I don't think so, but
I don't know.
Hey, I do have another order of business, and this maybe has to do a joint effort. I'm sorry, are you done, Bill?
I'm done.
Just real quick, guys. Acres has acquired the Greenhurst land from Rick James, which is nice, except for it's horrible. I don't know if you've been back here. The weeds there, are they in violation, Mike, of city ordinance?
They are, well, they're in violation of county ordinance with the Canadian thistle.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of those.
Yeah. I don't mean to ruffle, but, you know, there are literally $1 million houses on that road paying big taxes, staring right at 18-inch grass and weeds. And I know if I let my lawn go past 7 inches, the city comes and mows it and sends me a $300 bill. There's 120 acres there full of 13-inch grass, 18-inch grass, Canadian thistles. If the city won't do anything, as a county, can we go in and enforce our ordinance?
We can't enforce anything in incorporated.
Incorporated?
Yeah, we don't have.
Well,
any-
maybe we need to work with the mayor then and just,
Well, that's the only way we're gonna be able to get anything done, is to try to collaborate with the city if you wanna do something. Acres is notoriously difficult to deal with, but difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
On all of their reserve acres.
okay.
But I know the Canadian thistles are a real issue.
Yeah,
If you look at-
noxious.
If you look at the statute, Craig Bass is responsible, township trustees
town-
are
Union
responsible
Township?
for
Really?
noxious weeds and Canadian thistles.
Right.
I've seen
If
that come
the-
up in
if
an
the-
incident. Yeah, they're like shorter thistles from what I hear than the really tall ones.
Yeah.
And you're responsible by state law to remove them.
Well, and the problem is, these weeds are all going to seed. The wind picks it up, covers all our grass. I'm dealing with weeds I've never dealt with before. I have groundhogs, raccoons now coming in my yard and burrowing under my house.
There's a
and
lot of complaints.
I just don't think
about
it's
that.
right that I have to comply and my neighbors have to comply, but
They
we're
don't
a
have to.
trust, we don't have to. It's kind of thumbing the nose at the system. I didn't know, Mike, do you know if there was an agreement made with the city when they got that land that they don't have to comply with the ordinance?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll get hold of the mayor maybe and ask
Yeah,
him.
we can find out.
I just think I know it's more of a city issue, but it is kind of on the county border almost, and, you know, we would never let a farmer get away with this with their land.
Yeah. Well, it's a little different situation where it is now with Greenhurst, and like Jack Koval's brothers on South 427, you know, that acres, let that grow up doesn't really make any difference.
Right.
You know, it's not hurt anything, but this is right in the middle.
It's right in the middle of town, and that road is kind of going to be a gateway to, that's going to be a showcase road eventually, and the first thing you see on the corner is big weeds next to $1 million house, and I'm just going, and a really nice office park.
It's not a
too.
good look.
Yeah, it's just, you know, just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't fit the landscape. You know, we try to master plan things out, like, hey, this needs to be this needs to be that. We have a weed farm in the middle of one of the nicest part of town, and I just don't get it, so. Something to think about. I'll reach out to the mayor and just ask him if,
Yeah, it's worth a phone call.
yeah.
Should have-
I mean, I don't expect him to maintain it the way Rick did.
I'm sure that that's not the only phone call they've gotten.
Okay.
It seems like it should be mowed once or twice a year. I mean, you don't have to
Knock
take
it
it
down
down
at
like a
least.
golf course, obviously.
Yeah.
But knock down those thistles. If you mow them, they will eventually die off.
Sure.
But you can't let them go to seed.
That's the problem. They're letting
That's the
stuff go
problem.
to
They're going to
seed.
seed,
Wind
and
comes
you're getting the seed.
Yeah,
And that's not right.
yeah. It's just awful. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, and there are definitely a lot of critters in there.
There's, yeah, and you know, I have a gun. I can take care of them, but
If they're mowing the trails.
they're mowing about 10 foot on either side of the trail is it,
That's it.
which is fine. Maybe it's 15, I don't know. But I just think they should have to comply with the same regulations as a homeowner or a business owner. There should be no exemption.
Good point.
So, or if they're not enforcing it, that's wrong. It needs to be enforced. One of the two. So,
Worth a phone call.
yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks for
Anything
the
else?
info. Abe.
Anything else from anyone?
Nope.
Last call. One and done. We are